volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your flap. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. Spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are very, very important. Someday, many years from now, when you're a grown-up, you'll be a man. And when you are, you should be a gentleman. Do you want me to go through it one more time?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If a door's shut, then knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't speak with your mouth full, don't reach across people's plates, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing bottom line. Treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. Or S, speech difficulty. Then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds. And most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
Or if that resume was from someone who
worked 12-hour shifts at the recycling company with my dad, who's 72. That taught me a work ethic that I carry with me every day.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone.
Growing up where I did, a lot of things could have gotten in the way of my goals. But I learned to push through, and that's what I bring to work every day.
So maybe it's time we look beyond the resume and look to Grads of Life. Discover new ways to develop great talent that are so much more than what's on paper at gradsoflife.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Terry Crews. Actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve. It's now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is you over 30 years ago.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
And this is your mom when you drive her back from therapy.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Roles change without us noticing. And in your new role, we help you help. AARP gives you the information to help care for your mom so that you can have patience with her, just like she did with you. Visit aarp.org/caregiving or call 1-877-333-5885 to get practical health and wellness tips to provide even better care for your loved one.
Are we there yet?
Remember, visit aarp.org/caregiving. AARP, we help you help. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Wanda Franco arrested for illegal use of weapons. Reports say that Juan Soto will likely sign before the winter meetings. And MLB Awards preview and much, much more on the second episode of Jabba in the Mouth. Going to give him a significant. They're going to have a ton of money to spend. Why not put it in for the top 3 offensive players in the league? We're going to be looking at Aaron Judge and saying that he can't win the big game. Michael Jordan said it. I played 82 games. You don't see LeBron doing that.
This is a game where you got to go perform.
I told you, Giant fans, and Saquon Barkley, and this. I'm gonna fight him all. A 7-nation army couldn't hold me back. They're gonna rip it off. Really? We are back for a new show of Jabba in the Mouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks. My co-host, Jabba Chamberlain, and Speedy Petey. 203-470-0918 is our number. We have to change the number, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, right now our phone is frozen, so we're using another number. Again, the number is 203-470-0918. Our executive producer, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, Mr. Aaron Fishman, our sports minute, Tommy Scoops, and our very, very special man himself, Owen the Tick Rickner. So he will be joining us a little bit later in the show as well. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouths, Jabba, and the Mouth. Every single Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. I just want to say something. I have been trying to piss out this rock. It has been horrible. I feel it in my abdomen. It's like sitting there in my intestines. It doesn't want to come out. And for the last past hour, I've been in and out of the bathroom trying to get this thing out. So it's just been crazy. I've never experienced this before. And I can't imagine when it gets to that area, how much or how hard it is to get this thing out. I don't even know if it's there. It feels like it's there. Jabba, what's up, man?
Well, it sounds like I'm doing a lot better than you. So
It's definitely better than me right now. I can't even lie about that.
Nope, got me a good little couch nap and watching
what?
I don't even know
watching
what
porno?
No, I don't even know what I was watching. Next thing I know, I was asleep.
Well,
I just got comfy under my blankie and I was out.
Yeah, I wish I was comfy under my blankie. Yeah, I know. I'm just comfy in the toilet or on the toilet or around the toilet every single time I feel like I'm ready to get this thing out of my you-know-what. But anyways, it's crazy. It really doesn't feel very comfortable. But what do you expect when you have a rock sitting over there 4 millimeters long and wanting to come out in some place in that area? Speedy, what's up?
Jabba, I much more approve of that hat than the other one you were wearing yesterday that involves a particular shocker.
Yeah, I got to keep my hat game tight, though.
Yes.
You got to have some good ones.
Coming for Errol's variety? Is that what it is, Jabba?
Oh, I've got plenty.
Let's have a challenge. Who do you think has more hats? Who do you guys think? How about you? How about you, Scoops? Who do you think has more hats, me or Jabba?
I mean, I don't know how many hats Jabba has, but
I have to guess. Who do you think has more hats?
I'm gonna say you because you do have a lot of hats, honestly.
I have a significant amount. Jabba, how many do you have?
I can't even count.
You can't count, or you don't want to count?
No, I can't. I tried, but that was I've been collecting hats since I was a kid.
Yeah, same here.
And so, my grandma was a huge garage sale goer as well as my father was. So, yeah, there were some ones that I would never wear, but I had a bunch. I would say close to 1,000.
Wow, then you might have me beat. But
I mean, half of them either I wore and they're dingy and gross now, or
yeah, well, you still have them.
Yeah.
You have them, and some hats actually keep its value. I don't know if anybody knows that. And if you're a collector, if you're a hat collector, certain hats have its value. You can't get them anymore. The color, the brands. New Era has hats from 20, 30 years ago. It's made differently. The cloth.
Well, yeah, and they have the different stitching on the inside.
Yep. And the different stitching obviously puts up the value. So, and you can check it out if you go on eBay or you go on Amazon or wherever you go to buy your hats or New Era or Fanatic, wherever you buy your hats. If you take care of your hats, you don't even have to take care of your hats. Certain people actually have certain hats sweat on it, and if you sell it right now, it's probably worth a couple $100. I mean, I have a hat right now that's worth at value, just one hat worth about almost $500. So you if you collect hats and you take care of them, you don't even have to take care of them. If you just keep them, they could build value. So just so you guys know, I don't, just like sneakers, hats are the same. Certain jerseys too. If you have a couple of jerseys out there, I have a Wilt Chamberlain jersey. I have a Tim Duncan jersey. And these are authentic jerseys, and they're worth Michael Jordan on the Bullets, Washington Wizards. I have a Michael Jordan Bulls jersey, so I collect them just because they could be worth a pretty penny as you get older for your kids or family members if you go croak or something. I don't know. At 9:30, we'll be talking to former 9-year MLB pitcher and 2-time Emmy Award winner. I know you haven't spoken to him ever in your career, but hey, you'll get a chance tonight. Nelson Figueroa, PIX11 here in New York, Sports Nation Nightly. He is a fantastic broadcaster, knows his baseball, knows his sports. He owes us a Knick game, Speedy. He owes us a Knick game. He's supposed to take us to a Knick game. So I am definitely going to drop the hammer on Nelson tonight, and he'll be taking Jabba now. So it's just not us. It's Jabba too. So
maybe we'll see our friend Jim Larrett's there too at an interaction with Karl Anthony Towns.
That's true. As Karl Anthony Towns was just so excited to meet Jimmy Lawrence. I mean, could you imagine if he met Jabba? I mean, that would be interesting. Yeah, Karl Anthony Towns is a sensational player. Let's see if this team can actually build some chemistry, because so far it doesn't look very good. But hey, it's still early. There's 82 games in NBA season. And by, I would say, the half point, you would expect this team to really play at a top level. ESPN reports that Wander Franco was arrested for illegal use of possession of firearms. The arrest came after Franco drew his guns outside of an apartment complex during an altercation with a woman. Franco and a woman, or the woman, have both been held for questioning for the last 2 days in the Dominican Republic. Franco is still under trial for sexual assault and human trafficking charges, which would be a 20-year prison sentence. Laws in the Dominican Republic say you can carry a gun with a license, but the police could not confirm if Franco had a license. Major League Baseball put Franco on the restricted list back in July, meaning the Rays don't have to pay his yearly salary or lose a 40-minute roster spot during that time. Franco is not able to leave the Dominican Republic until both trials are over. Wander Franco is in a lot of trouble. I mean, it's pretty simple. If you look at these altercations that he's had and the situation he's put himself in, and I don't know about the gun. Maybe he has a license. I don't know. I'm not friends with anybody that knows Wander Franco. But what I do know is, if you know the police are following you, if you know the police are after you and you don't have a license, why would you be holding a gun? Why would you even have a gun? I would have moved those guns in your family's house. I would have moved those guns somewhere away from you if you know that you're on your way of being a felon. Now, Wander Franco, I don't know how much money he's made over the last 2 or 3 years before he got caught with this human trafficking and sexual assault charges that he has. I don't know how much money this guy owns or has. But what I do know, we've seen this before in professional sports. We've seen athletes get themselves into trouble. O.J. Simpson, and we all know the O.J. Simpson story. O.J. Simpson had millions and millions of dollars, so many endorsements, so many opportunities to make money after his career, and all that money got washed away in just one trial. He did get off it and then got in trouble again. We all know that story. Then he got out of jail, and now he's gone, by the way. But the fact is, Wander Franco has really put himself in a really bad situation. And Major League Baseball is going to sit here and they're going to just toss it to the side and forget he even exists. We've seen Major League Baseball do this before. Rob Manfred is not a nice person. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if you know Rob Manfred. Everything I know about him, I don't know him personally, but what I know about him, he's ruined the game of baseball ever since he's taken over for Bud Selig. I'm not saying Bud Selig is the nicest or the greatest person since sliced bread, because that guy's in the Hall of Fame when he so-called didn't know what was going on in baseball with steroids after the strike. He knew exactly what was going on, just as much as Rob Manfred knew what was going on when he was tailing behind Bud Selig licking his ass. But right now, Wander Franco is in a situation where he needs to keep his nose clean. He should not be putting himself in a bad situation. He should not even be hanging out with women right now. After this situation, this sexual assault and human trafficking that he has been obviously pointed fingers at, and we don't know what the real story is behind it. Now, he obviously was sleeping with a 14-year-old because they wouldn't have arrested him. And the MLB and even the Rays wouldn't be suspending him or restricting him from playing professional baseball if the story wasn't somewhat true. But this wasn't the only woman or kid he was screwing around with, because there were stories that it wasn't just one woman. It was 3 kids or girls that he was messing around with.
That we know of.
That we know of. So I understand why baseball is trying to push him and shove him under the rug. But again, baseball is not going to be able to hide a player of this magnitude. This guy was the best shortstop, the best young shortstop in baseball. This guy was the face of the Rays. Why would the Rays give him
182 in 11 years, I think.
$182 million contract if they didn't think he was going to be the face of the organization? Now, again, I don't know the story behind the whole sexual assault or the human trafficking. We're going to find out very, very soon, because his court case is coming up in the next couple of months, especially that the new year is going to happen. I think they said in April. I think that was when the court case was actually going to happen in the Dominican Republic.
December
I don't know.
12th.
Oh, there you go. So it's this year, December 12th. So Jabba knows the date. So now you look at this situation. If this story does grow legs, and it seems like it will, because the police are following this guy, are watching him. If you know that this situation is going to put you in a situation where it's going to get you in more trouble, you shouldn't be doing it. I don't know what Wander Franco is doing. I don't know why his attorney is not telling him, stay clean, stay away from the police, stay away from, I wouldn't even leave my home. I would have somebody get me an Uber and have Uber Eats or something like that. Go to the supermarket or I'm sure that's in the Dominican Republic. I don't believe that he has to leave his house, and his parents or whoever is living with him or beside him or in the same home as him shouldn't let him leave that house. He left the house and he got caught. And I think he's in even more trouble than we can even imagine.
Yeah, I think the restriction was the fact that he can't leave the country, but he still can travel within the country.
Would you leave your home when you know this situation?
Yeah, that's the other story.
Would you do that?
No,
Would you leave?
No, I wouldn't. When you look at like the reference of it's a smaller island nation. I know it's kind of populated for an island nation, but you still easily could be seen, and that kind of thing. You don't want to lead into more trouble, and that's where this story ends up going to, where he's outside an apartment complex, which it's probably smaller than it is here in the United States, but it's still going to have people that could be witnesses with you holding a gun, which shows that he really hasn't learned anything in his year or 2 years even that this even started. These trials with the sexual assaults and human trafficking started late in 2021. That was right after he signed the contract, the 11-year 182. And like Errol was saying, we were talking about Wander Franco and Bobby Witt being like the 2 young phenoms at the shortstop position in baseball. And now one is a runner-up for MVP. The other one might not even play again. And it's just a big difference of that. And you feel bad for the Rays because once they finally wanted to spend money, they finally were actually being around.
You feel bad for the
because
Rays?
they're a low-market team.
Investigate before you even do. And by the way, the Rays knew something about this before they gave him the contract. They knew about this. This was brushed under the rug. They thought the Rays, I'm telling you right now, if you're going to tell me the executives or no executive over there with the Rays knew about this, well, then you must be stupid.
Well, yeah, maybe those executives are gone at that
You're not
point.
going to offer somebody $182 million.
Yeah, the only reason I say that is they've always been like the low market, well-oiled machine when you look at the Rays, the way they've competed. So maybe they thought they could be aggressive with that. So yeah, maybe somebody or maybe two people in that front office lost their job once it came out last year. And obviously it took Major League Baseball a year to actually put him on the restricted list. So maybe they were waiting for the right information to come out. But that's 3 different violations for the women for sexual assault, and human trafficking is even worse. We've seen that internationally be a problem. And yet you're doing that as well. It just shows he has not learned and he has not matured. And as of right now, he should never play baseball again.
Yeah, and like you said, they didn't even put him on the restricted list till July this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what they were looking for. I mean, obviously there's 1,900 pages in a contract. So you got to look over it and do whatever. But I mean, going back to your point, literally like, okay, you haven't even gone to court yet. And we don't know, as it was stated in the article, that, his lawyer was like, it has a license. There's nothing wrong. We're asking him. Even so, why even put yourself in that situation? Like, do you feel like you need to protect yourself? Well, then that goes back to your point of like, dude, stay your ass home. Like, if they want to come into your house and try to do something, then that's a different story. But if you're just go all willy-nilly out with a loaded gun, and maybe they're not tailing him, but they're watching him in some way, shape, or form. And you just at that point don't put yourself in that situation to make yourself look even worse. Like, if you know you're in trouble, you're already in trouble. Everybody knows it. I mean, he showed up in a light gray hoodie with his hood over and his head bowed. He didn't talk to reporters, obviously. And it's just, he's just adding fuel to the fire. Like, there's nothing good about the situation as a whole. And, we can talk about whatever and losing a great talent. But at the same time, if that's the way you're going to conduct yourself as a person, and as I won't even consider him a man at this point, then yeah, it sucks. But also, we don't need that in the game. We don't need that in this world. Damn baseball, but just as a human being, you don't need those types of things. So yeah, I just stay home. Don't put yourself in any situation. Pretty sure, he kept some of his money. I mean, he's due like $8 million next year, and he ain't going to see a penny of it. So hopefully somebody's looking out for him and doing whatever, because I doubt he's ever going to play baseball again or see another cent of that contract.
That's scary. When you look at somebody that has been caught for human trafficking, sexual assault, and this guy is allowed to carry a gun. And I know you say, well, you need a license, but who gave him the gun? Who actually gave this man a gun? And I understand maybe he fears his life, and that's why he's going out with a gun, because he's afraid somebody's going to jump him because of what he has done. Maybe somebody from those families that he has screwed around with is looking for him. I don't know, but he is trying to protect himself for a reason. And maybe he knows this to be true, or somebody is calling him up and threatening him. If somebody's calling you up and threatening you, don't leave the house. Don't leave the house. You put yourself in harm's way. There are so many other ways that you can actually get food or be protected in your own home. I don't understand why anybody in his family would let this guy leave the home or leave his home. Now, he was caught with another woman. So is she of age?
I don't think it's a minor as far as I know, but you never know.
I'm hearing it was 2 other people. I'm reading the story right now. It's 2 other people. There were 2 other people. Another man and woman were also detained with 2 firearms, and they were seized. So, I mean, honestly, he's hanging out with bad people. So you would just think if you're a grown man, and he's 23 years old, he's kind of a kid still. He's young. He's a young man. If it was me and I'm 42, I'm almost 20 years older than the kid, I would be giving him advice. And I'd be telling him, listen, kid, if you know you're in trouble, you should not be carrying around a gun. As a matter of fact, if your court case is a month away, I would stay the hell home. I would not put myself in harm's way where somebody is going to do whatever they can to either hurt you or put you in a bad situation where you're going to get arrested again. Now, he's going to go to court December 12th, right, Jabba? I think that is what you said. December 12th. And that judge is going to be sitting there licking his lips because not only was he detained for sexual assault and human trafficking, he was also detained a month before his case for gun charges if he doesn't have a license. I mean, if the jury is looking at that right now, it doesn't bode well for old Juan Franco, and he could go to jail for 20 years. Could you imagine this? And we spoke about this. Look at Plexico Boris. Remember that? And this is Plexico Boris never raped or sexually assaulted anybody or human trafficked anybody, but he shot himself in the leg. Remember that? He won a Super Bowl that year where they were on a run. The Giants, I think, were 6-0 or 7-0.
Yeah,
and
they lost undefeated team.
And they went to a club, and Plexico Boris made a big mistake. He brought a gun into the club, and he I guess dropped it, and he shot himself in the leg. Mayor Bloomberg wanted to drop the hammer on him because he wanted to tell athletes, if you don't have a license, you're not permitted to carry a live firearm. He obviously was not paying attention because he was Plexico Boris. He won a Super Bowl, and he just thought, hey, I could do whatever the hell I want. And Mayor Bloomberg dropped the hammer on him, and he went to jail for 2 years. Plexico Boris' career was practically over. He came back. He did play for the Jets. He did play for a couple NFL teams. He was never the same player because he was away from football for 2 years. This is even worse. I mean, this guy's never playing professional baseball again. Look what they did to Bauer. Bauer didn't do anything, or he wasn't accused of doing anything, okay? And Trevor Bauer, who's still one of the best pitchers in the world, he's been in Japan, he's been in Mexico. This guy's won the Cy Young in both places, and he still can never play professional Major League Baseball again because nobody's going to give this guy a chance because he put his hands on a woman.
Yeah. And you also look at even some modern examples as well. Like John Morant, we've been talking about a lot too with all the charges that he's had. And the way the NBA handled that in terms of giving him the mentorship where he's able to get back quickly. So as of the last year, we haven't heard much since then. But baseball, on the other hand, where they're normally good, I think they've been handling in terms of domestic violence stuff in comparison to the NFL and sometimes the NBA too. And they've been addressing those quickly where they're giving them restrictions, like bigger suspensions on that kind of thing. They've handled it better. But in this case, not giving him that kind of mentorship maybe have screwed this kind of thing up where you're right. He is so young, just like John Morant. John Morant, when he got caught, was 22 years old. Wander Franco's even younger than that when he started doing all the crap that he was doing, and they've done nothing to help address that kind of thing. And Jabba, to your point too, there should be people watching him. Does he have a parole officer? Is he a good parole officer? And does he have good attorneys that could help him out in terms of getting?
Of course, he's got good.
You would think, and then maybe they're not doing the right things. And
so what do you want the attorneys to do? To hang out with him at his house and just tell him no, bad boy. What is he, a dog? I mean, seriously, you have to understand that everybody is going to have eyes on you. You're Wander Franco. You're one of the best young shortstops in professional baseball. People look at you. They look up to you, and you made a mistake, and now everybody knows where you live. If you don't think in the Dominican Republic is not a big place. Nope. It really isn't. It's small. It's a small island. So if you think for 1 second people don't know where his family lives or where he's hanging out, you're sadly mistaken. So there's going to be reporters there. The cops are sitting out there waiting for you to make a mistake. And you made the dumbest mistake you possibly can make.
And based on what you were saying before with that other story, like those two other people were also questioned and possibly have been detained too. They were involved in that kind of thing. I don't remember the guy's name offhand. Jalo, you might be able to remember this. There was a player with the A's after he retired that I think was involved in some kind of drug ring in the Dominican Republic. I forget his name offhand, but you hope it doesn't get to like some extreme to that level with Wander Franco. But this is 3 separate instances, so you do have to be worried about that kind of thing.
Yeah, history keeps repeating itself, and just when you think that you couldn't hear anything more about him, then this pops up, and you're just like, kind of got, as July hit and they were going through, obviously, if they were going to put him on the restricted list, so they didn't have to pay his contract, and then now it's like, oh, okay, and then this pops up. You're like, dude, come on, like, whatever's going to happen, it's going to come out. It's just a matter of time. Can you're basically delaying the inevitable. I mean, that's really all you're doing at this point. And so you're literally less than a month away. And you've made it this long. Like, what's another few weeks of just keeping your nose clean and shutting it down and be like, hey, I need, bread and milk and cereal, obviously there's people still around him supporting him. I don't know if he has somebody that's living with him 24/7 or what have you. But he is who he is, good or bad. In the Dominican, everybody knows where you live, or where you hang out. We've seen it. And it's whether he is to Speezy's point of, what do you want his lawyers to do? Check in. I'm not saying you got to babysit him. He is 23 years old. He's still a young man. He's still impressionable. Obviously, he can make his own decisions. But, that's got to be something you got to check in. And, maybe once a week you go over and you guys, sit and chop it up. Just like, kind of like a therapy session, I guess, for lack of a better term. Just to make sure he's in the right headspace, that he's doing everything that he can to make sure that he's safe, his family is safe. But you're right, though. You can't hold his hand. You make your bed, you got to sleep in it. So, and to do it over there in such a baseball dominant environment, it's going to be magnified tenfold, because you were this prodigy, you just got this crazy contract, and all this stuff comes out. So to think that if they want to find you, they'll find you, but you're at home and you can protect yourself that way.
And by the way, Speedy, it was Octavio Dotel and Luis Castilla. Okay, those were the two guys that had that drug ring, and a couple of other Major League Baseball players were actually involved with it as well. Both those guys are I think in big trouble. I don't know when this court case is going to happen, but this happened if August of 2019, so it should be happening. Or it has. I haven't read it. I'm reading the article right now. It doesn't seem like I've read anything or if this actually happened yet. Maybe they got out of it. I don't know. Maybe
it was Dotel. I do remember that now. Like years at 19.
But I'm reading the articles right now. Anywhere close, and I looked it up, and there was nothing that has said that they're going to jail for a significant amount of time. So
wasn't there a big one in the NFL too?
There was. I forget who it was, but it was.
It was a former player. Golly, I can't.
It was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I remember there was, and it was a big one.
Yeah,
and he got caught with a load of cocaine and other things, methamphetamines, and all that other stuff. I forget who it was. You guys could look it up. But I don't know what this man or this kid is thinking in his head, but obviously he hasn't really used his brain very well, because he's put himself in such bad situations early in his life and his career, which he's ruined his career. He doesn't even have a career anymore. He's never going to play professional baseball again. It's over. It's done. He's never going to see that money, that $182 million that he was supposed to get. I mean, you should have thought when you were doing these things that one way or another you were going to get caught. I mean, you're not going to get away with it. And I'm going to tell you this right now, Speedy. There's no way in hell that the Rays didn't know anything about it. Somebody knew in the organization or players in the organization that was probably ratting him out to executives that he was doing it. Then obviously, why would you offer him that money? Because maybe the Rays thought they can hide it. I don't know. But nevertheless, I'm not going to speculate what has happened with the Rays organization or even Juan Franco. All I know is Juan Franco is in a lot of trouble. He is probably going to see a significant amount of jail time, not only for sexual assault and human trafficking. He might even see more jail time for carrying a firearm that he doesn't or wasn't legalized to do. So, and this is a guy that, how many counts of felony charges did he get? It had to be about 5 or 6 of them if you're being caught with sexual assault and human trafficking. It's a significant amount of felonies that you're going. It's not just 1 or 2. It's probably 6 or 7 or something of that magnitude. I don't know. But it's shameful that Wander Franco has put himself in this situation with all that talent in the world and really was on his way up as a major league player. How many All-Star games was he in? 2?
He was in the year that he got in, and I think he was in the Rising Stars game his rookie year.
I think he was there twice. I think he was at the All-Star game twice. But you saw that the Rays wanted to make sure that they covered their asses and having things in his contract if he got in trouble. Thank God they did that, or they'd be paying him all that money, $182 million. But Jabba, you know all about those contracts. There are things in those contracts, and that's why you need lawyers. That's why you need somebody behind you that are going to be able to read all the different wording and all the, the criteria of that contract that is going to, before you put your John Hancock to it. And obviously, Wander Franco is not very good at reading, or his lawyer wasn't good reading when he signed that contract.
You're muted, John.
Yeah. You're muted, Jabba. You're muted.
I bet it gets a little bit more dicey too, because paying into the Dominican from the States, and they had all the records of how much he was paying them. So I could only imagine how much of a headache or whatever it is. I love James Parrish in our chat dropped Franco's going to be playing Who Dropped the Soap pretty soon. You know about that, Speedy, right? Who Dropped the Soap?
Speedy loves dropping the soap.
No, that's our Syracuse coach yesterday. He doesn't want to use soap.
I'm going to tell you this right now. You don't want to be hit with the soap either.
Oh no, really, they put it in a sock?
Oh, my God. Sock. They stick it in a pillow sham. Oh, man, those things. That I've been hit with a soap, in a pillow sham before. That stuff is like being hit with a weight because it's with all that pressure and being that it's so hard, it really, really hurts. It puts bruises all over your body. My friends did it to me when we were in camp, sports camp when we were kids. So I'm not even going to tell you how much what that felt like. But anyways, ESPN's Jeff Passan reports that Juan Soto's contract should definitely be higher than $600 million and will likely sign before the winter meetings December 9th. The Athletic Jason Stark reports that the Blue Jays, Red Sox, Mets, and Yankees are the only teams likely to give Soto $600 million. USA Today's Bob Nightingale projects the Blue Jays offer for Soto to be 14 years and worth about $630 million. Multiple reports that say that the Red Sox are willing to break the bank for Soto, even if it means not getting free agent pitching help. Reports say that Francisco Lindor has told the Mets ownership he's been wanting another young star with the Mets since 2022. Other rumored teams like the Phillies, Giants, Dodgers don't have any scheduled meetings with Juan Soto. Soto's scheduled to meet with the Blue Jays, Red Sox, and Mets and Yankees this week. So Juan Soto's right now in LA. He's with Scott Boras. And Scott Boras is going to spin the wheel and make the friggin' deal. So Scott Boras is going to take the biggest and the best offer. Now, Juan Soto is going to get close to $12 million, worth about $640 million. That's where I see his number being. Maybe even somebody's going to break the bank and give him $700 million. Now, the Mets are an organization with an owner that makes billions of dollars. As a matter of fact, last year he made $1.5 billion, and he didn't really invest any big dollars in free agency. So you know that Steve or Uncle Stevie is going to be out there willing and ready to open up his pockets. His hedge funds are ready to explode. But right now, there are quite a few teams interested in this kid. The Blue Jays, who are looking to spend money, they don't want to spend it on their own players. Vladimir Guerrero's looking for a big contract. They haven't given him any money. They got two other big young stars on that roster that are looking for long-term deals. And they actually told the Blue Jays last year, because they wanted Shohei Ohtani. Does anybody remember that?
Yep.
That they were not they were willing to wait until the next offseason to sign a contract with the Blue Jays if they can bring Shohei Ohtani in. It never happened. He went to the Dodgers, and these two players, these two superstars, are still not signed by the Blue Jays. I don't know what the Blue Jays are looking for, or what Juan Soto is looking for. We all know it's all about the money. It's show me the money, as we've seen that in Jerry Maguire. The Red Sox, they would love to stick it to the New York Yankees. They would love it. The Yankees did it with Alex Rodriguez. We've seen this before. Alex Rodriguez was as good as traded to the Boston Red Sox, and there was some kind of stipulations in that trade that the MLB waived, and all of a sudden Brian Cashman jumped in and scooped A-Rod up. Does anybody remember that story? Why wouldn't Henry want to go out there and say, you know what, screw the Yankees, we're going to take your young superstar away from you, and we're going to put him in Red Sox letters. We're going to put him in Red Sox colors. And and I know a bunch of Red Sox fans that are listening to this show right now, because I know I've sent them the link. I know they would be absolutely excited to see Juan Soto as a Boston Red Sox. I wouldn't, as a New York Yankee fan. I wouldn't. But guess what? If Juan Soto wants to take the most money, so be it. You can't blame the kid that he wants the most money. He waited for this contract. He's earned the right to make the most amount of money. Now, if he goes to the Red Sox, does he have a better chance of winning if he doesn't stay? If he stayed with the Yankees? Probably not. Not right now, especially the Red Sox and their pitching staff. If you go to the Mets right now, do you have a better chance of playing in the National League when you have to play the Dodgers? You got to play the young Diamondbacks or any of these, the Braves or any of these good teams right now in the National League, which, by the way, the National League had the better teams in their league. I mean, honestly, Juan Soto should be very, very smart on his decision-making, because if he wants to go down as one of the greatest players of all time, you want to play in a short ballpark. You want to play where there's a short porch where you're going to put up the best numbers. He has a chance to be a Yankee for the next 10 years. If he stays with the Yankees, he's 26, going to be 27 years old. You're talking about 40 to 45 home runs a season. You're talking about a guy that's going to give you 130, 140 RBIs every single season if he stays healthy, which, by the way, he's usually healthy all season long. I think in the last 3 or 4 years, he's played close to 140 or more games. So, I mean, Juan Soto has a chance to go down as one of the greatest players to ever play the game. Why not do it in pinstripes? That's where you would want to be. That's where you would want to go to the Hall of Fame in. But Juan Soto is all about the money, then so be it. You can't blame the kid to do that. Again, you're going to hear a lot of stories in the next couple of weeks about Juan Soto. Well, the Blue Jays, everybody would remember with the Shohei Ohtani. Yep. He was flying to the Blue Jays. He was flying to Toronto. There were stories coming out, and he was never flying to Toronto. Yep. He was in LA negotiating a deal with the Dodgers. A week later, he was signed with the Dodgers.
I think 2 days later or something like that. Yeah.
To defer money. Again, there's going to be a lot of stories where there's going to be inside sources, of course. We're going to hear so many things. But all in all, I don't think it's going to be much of a decision for any of these teams to drop the handle or drop the bat on this guy. He's worth every penny. You saw what he did in the playoffs. He didn't do so much in the World Series, but who got the Yankees to the World Series? Who hit that 3-run home run in the 10 innings of play against the Cleveland Indians? It was him. It was Juan Soto. Besides Giancarlo Stanton, Juan Soto was the second best player throughout the playoffs for the New York Yankees. But again, I don't blame young Juan Soto. He's been waiting for this payday. He deserves every bit of it. And I do believe Francisco Lindor has a lot of say where the Mets go in free agency. He wants another young Dominican to come and play over there with him. Why not one of his closer friends, a guy that has always been in love with playing in Citi Field, Uncle Stevie, who's the richest owner in professional baseball, that will pull down his pants if he could to get Juan Soto to play over there at Citi Field. He would do anything to get Juan Soto over there. I do believe the Mets are going to win Juan Soto. They're going to win him. They're going to do whatever they can to bring Juan Soto over there to Citi Field. And by the way, he's going to sell a lot of jerseys. He's going to bring a lot of fans in there, no matter where the Mets go. But by the way, we've seen the Mets over the years bring in young players, young superstars after they become free agents to come and play over there, and they're not the same players. Now, Carlos Beltran, he proved that he was a great player for the New York Mets, but guess what? The Mets could never get over the hump. We've seen guys like, we just mentioned, Francisco Lindor. Francisco Lindor's been with a Met for how many years? 4 years. How many World Series have they played in? None. So you're paying a guy $320 million and no World Series appearances. I mean, that says a lot. So if you're going to open up your pocket, you're going to make sure that this guy is the missing piece that's going to get you to the promised land.
Yeah, before I get to my point about Soto, I just want to mention to Jabba the story about the Blue Jays Ohtani thing last year. Errol and I were literally in the car on the way to the show, and Jeff was on the phone, and he actually said, broke it. Oh, Ohtani's going to go to the Blue Jays. He's traveling there now. And then 2 days later, he ended up signing with the Dodgers. But that's Jeff for you in a nutshell. But it's interesting with the 4 teams, all different circumstances. The Blue Jays, I think, they're in that desperate move because Ross Atkins' job is really on the line. Their free agent signings have been horrible, building around this young core. George Springer didn't work out. Matt Chapman, a lot of the pitchers that they brought in did not work out, and they're doing a lot better in other places, and they might be a last-ditch effort to save his job. But I actually thought he was going to be traded there last year because it seemed like the Yankees were the teams leading at the time, so I thought a division rival might steal it from him, and they have all this young talent. They love their flash, and it just didn't work out. The Red Sox are interesting because, like you were saying with Lindor, I saw something that Soto and Devers are actually really close too. So you wonder how much leeway that kind of thing is going to have. But at the same time, their ownership doesn't spend a lot because their owner is more focused on their Premier League team.
There's no leeway. It's all about money. You heard Juan Soto come out and say, I don't know if anybody listened to his press conference after the game. Jabba, you mentioned what he said. He pretty much said, hey, listen, it's great being here with the New York Yankees, but he didn't say it in the kind of words that you would expect him to say. But he pretty much told you he's going to wait for the best deal. He pretty much said it after the game that he is going to be looking for the most money. So there's nothing. It has nothing to do with friendship. It's all about cash, money. Who's going to give me the most money, the most years? Because we all know Juan Soto in the next 4 to 5 years is going to be a DH. So whoever decides to go after Juan Soto has to understand that if Juan Soto is the guy that you want to bring in 4 years in the outfield or 5 years in the outfield, and then he's your DH for the next 7 years. I mean, it's a huge, huge contract. You're going to pay a guy who's going to be your DH.
Yeah, 12 to 14 years, it seems like no matter what team he is and end up going to, because he's, like you said, he's 26 and he always has stayed healthy in his career. He had like one small injury stint with the Yankees, one small injury stint with the Padres, and that was it. The Yankees, it didn't seem like he had any ill will towards the organization, so they're always going to be in the running as well. And now that the report is coming out paying over $600 million, they're always going to stay in there. That's why I think it's going to be harder, especially for the Red Sox, to do that kind of thing, because it's a new regime altogether. Maybe they want to change some of the things from the Chaim Bloom era, which was terrible, but still, I don't know if they're the same ownership that are going to do that. Then you have the Mets, like you're saying, with Uncle Stevie there. They're always going to try to bid it to the end when it comes to somebody like Juan Soto. Now, I know you mentioned in the past that Hal Steinbrenner and Steve Cohen have a little bit of a respect for each other. So how much of a bidding war is this going to be?
Not at all.
But
it's all about money.
Yeah.
It was all about the Aaron Judge thing. There was no way Uncle Stevie was going to take Aaron Judge away from the New York Yankees. He stayed away from that because he was going to, I'm sure Hal was telling Uncle Stevie that he was probably going to make him the captain of the team and the organization moving forward. So Uncle Stevie took steps back. He didn't want to step in that whole conversation with Aaron Judge. I do believe Juan Soto is up for grabs, and there's no way Uncle Stevie is going to lose the opportunity to go after a superstar that good.
And it's also a superstar that's already won a World Series too. So he's obviously going to focus on the money no matter what at this point. And you look at that with Albert Pujols, he ended up going to the Angels. He didn't win over there because the Angels are a dysfunctional mess, but he got the big contract that he wanted. Same kind of thing with Miguel Cabrera when he signed the big deal with Detroit after he got traded. He already won that World Series his rookie year with the Marlins. I mean, the Tigers grew into a good team. Jabba, you obviously played for them. You know how much talent that they had when you were there. And he ended up riding out that contract all the way until last year. So you look at that kind of circumstance, it's rare to see somebody that young, that durable, and that good of a pure hitter be available in the open market.
Yeah, I think it's the writing's on the wall with right after, you know, and right after the game and that press conference and how he said it. And then, you know, obviously with the things coming out, and you bring up a great point, both of you, in the aspect of look at it from both sides. Like, maybe if he hadn't won yet, maybe if he hasn't, you know, done what he's done, then it's like, okay, I'll take less money, because to be considered one of the greatest ever, you got to win. And I mean, it's stupid to say, because there's some great ones that have never won. And you're going to see, obviously, in this breakdown of the next, Passan said by, I thought personally when free agency first started, I thought it would be after the first of the year, but as reports have come out, they're thinking it might get done before. But he's already won. He's going to sign for a crazy amount of money. I don't think anybody's going to look at it from the perspective of like, oh, he's just choosing the money. Well, okay, he's already won. He has a chance to win with A, B, and C. But if they offer you an extra 40, 50 million, anybody in their right mind that's already been an all-star, that's already won a World Series, and be like, all right, yeah, that sounds good. So any way you try to move and shake what he's doing, whether it's winning, whether it's the money, there's no right or wrong. He deserves it, and he's earned it. It'll just be interesting to see the bidding war and where the numbers come out. That's what I'm most excited for. Anybody that gets him is obviously going to be better for it.
Of course.
But I just want interested in kind of the way, I don't think he's going to do any deferred money.
No.
I don't think so.
Nope. He already said he wasn't.
Yeah. And he may take a little bit less AAV and take a bigger signing bonus. I've seen Boris guys do that. Max Scherzer did it. So they've done that before, where, you know, it brings down basically their AAV. They just get more up front. So that's what I'm excited for. And I knew there would be a couple sleeper teams. To what extent that they're going to be involved, or they just want to, you know, ruffle some feathers. I don't know, because we've seen some of these teams that aren't willing to pay, but then you get a generational talent like this, and now they want to be in the conversation. So whoever gets him, it's going to be great. I'm just excited to see the back and forth between these teams and the years and the money and how it all breaks down. I think it's such a fun time. And, you know, you obviously, I think December 9th starts winter meetings.
Yep. And they're saying that he is going to take the contract right before winter meetings. If he's saying December 9th, it's probably going to be around that time. I really do believe he's narrowed it down already. I do believe he is sat down with the Mets. He's probably sitting down with the Yankees and the Red Sox before the week is over. I mean, the week's almost over. We're Wednesday now, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then you go into Sunday. Sunday's the new week. So what is it going to take? Probably 2 more days where he's going to sit down, and him and Scott are probably going to narrow it down to 2 teams or 3 teams. I do believe the Red Sox will be in the mix. I do not believe they're going to give him $600 million. I cannot see Henry, after all that money he's put into those soccer teams, or the soccer team he has over there in England, that he's just going to invest $650 or $600 million into just one player. I cannot see that. Now, he gave Devers $300 million. He's one of the best young third basemen in baseball. But to give Devers $300 and then give him $650, you have 2 players worth $1 billion. I can't see Henry doing that. So let's cut Boston out of it. The only 3 teams I think I don't believe he wants to go. And I'm being honest. I do not believe he wants to go to LA. I do not believe he wants to go out west because the stories out there when he was in San Diego, he didn't like it out there. He didn't like the West Coast. So if that's the case, it's only down to the Mets, the Yankees, and the Blue Jays. I really do believe the Blue Jays will give him whatever they can, years and money to get him over there in Toronto. Now, if they do that, Vladimir Guerrero is gone, and so is Bo Bichette. There is no way, if they're going to pay Juan Soto about $650 or even $670 million for 14 years, they're going to be able to pay Vladimir Guerrero, which is expecting between $280 and $300 million, and Bo Bichette, who's probably a better player, all-around player than Vladimir Guerrero, probably around that same amount of money. So I think both those guys are going to be gone. So I don't know if this is a good move for the Blue Jays, but again, the Blue Jays are all about selling tickets. I don't know if it's about winning championships because the last time they won a championship was when Joe Carter was playing for the team and Roberto Alomar. So I have not seen Toronto play in a World Series since then. So I think it's a big move for whatever organization decides to go after Juan Soto. It's a move that either it's going to be a trendsetter, it's going to take you to the promised land, or you're going to overpay for him. As we all know, the Nationals got a boatload from San Diego.
Yep.
A boatload.
Yeah, and you wonder, too, like these other players that maybe are going to be incentivized to sign there before, if Juan Soto is putting this out there as a deadline, like I'd go with a sign before the winter meetings, maybe that accelerates everything else to try to get signed, too, for these other teams to try to make that work. Obviously, the Mets are a lot of one-year deals, so it probably won't be them right away, but maybe the Blue Jays, like you're saying, do they lock up those guys before that, then try to deal with Soto? Or the Red Sox, some of the contracts that they have with their young players, they try to lock those up.
If the Mets asked you, hey, Speedy, could you lock Juan Soto in the room with you and you just con him into signing the contract? Would you do that?
That wouldn't be a good time.
Well, I mean, I'm just asking.
That would not be a good time.
Well, I mean, this is an opportunity where you can sit and hang out with Juan
so.
Soto for about a week, and you could be in the room. You could shower in the same shower as Juan Soto. You can drop the soap with Juan Soto. Would you do it?
I don't think that would be a good idea.
Why not? Why wouldn't it?
I don't need to weird him out so he can keep him off of the Mets, and then I
think it'd be a good idea. I think you're a very.
The Mets had enough issues with GMs that wanted to do gross things and managers that wanted to do gross things, so I don't need that anymore.
What makes it so gross? You get a chance to.
I don't care.
I mean, it'll be great to see.
I'm not doing that.
Great big Met fan hanging out with Juan Soto in a room, hanging out in the showers with Juan Soto. Who wouldn't want to hang out? You know, in his boxer shorts, or maybe even halfway naked. With Juan Soto, going to accept it. See, Pete Alonso will accept it.
Okay, then Pete Alonso can go do that.
He has.
Okay, Pete Alonso wants to shower in the same room as Juan Soto. It's a negotiation tactic. It's weird, but if it works,
I mean, you could be the sandwich. You could be the bologna in that sandwich.
No thanks.
Pete Alonso on one side,
who's huge.
Juan Soto on the other.
Pete Alonso's huge. There's a reason he calls him the polar bear. I am not getting involved in a sandwich.
Gross sexual crap. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm sure you
honestly, what kind of meat would you want?
I don't care.
I mean, what's your favorite meat?
Okay, I can't think of it offhand.
What do you mean? You don't like bologna? What do you like?
Well, deli meat, I deli meat a lot of the American ones.
How
Turkey,
thick do
roast
you like
beef,
the beef?
yeah. Some types of ham. I'm kind of fussy with ham. But
Ham?
Some types.
So you'd be the ham in that sandwich.
I don't care.
I mean, how do you think it would taste?
A regular sandwich is fine. I don't care about a sandwich with 3 human beings.
Jabba, how do you think it would taste? I mean, you have Pete Alonso on one side, Soto on the other, and you have Speedy in the middle. I mean, what is the best part of that sandwich? I would say Speedy. I think it would be Speedy.
I mean, he might need a few ice bags when he's done. I mean,
I'll bring it. I'll hook you up, Speedy.
Oof. That's a sight that I didn't think I was going to think about, but
No, I'm thinking about it right now.
Yeah, it's a ritual to go through his head like that. You don't think about it, Jabba, until you're exposed to it.
Well, you got to be exposed to
be
it.
like the life-size version of a double stuffed Oreo.
Oh, that's
God.
It sounds delicious.
You were 2 weeks too late on that reference. That's Mikey C's thing.
I mean, seriously. I mean, you would have to make sure that you have some ice for those balls of yours when they're done with you, among other things. Anyways, why don't we go to a quick break? When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we got lots more to get into. Kyle Singler. Yes, yeah, a lot of different things. Former Duke basketball star and NBA player Kyle Singler posted a cryptic Instagram post saying that he fears for his life. Oh, this is going to be an interesting story. We will get into the Kyle Singler, interesting story and much, much more. But first, our Sports Minute with Tommy Scoops.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute.
Are you ready to get loud?
With Tommy Scoops.
Yes, sir. I've returned to bring you all the Loudmouth Sports Minute and kicking you off in the NFL after drama had just unfolded with the Bears coaching staff. The Bears quarterback, Caleb Williams, actually said that he has the full support of his teammates. And although poor offensive play has stalled his team out, the Bears players said that they are strongly behind their rookie teammate, Caleb Williams. And in other NFL news, Minnesota Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold is actually limited today in practice after injuring his throwing hand against the Jaguars Sunday. But Darnold did not miss any time during the game and is even likely to still start versus the Titans on Sunday. Now, wrapping things up over in the NBA, the Cavaliers are currently still undefeated and currently taking on the 76ers and looking to be the sixth team to start their season 13-0, which brings us actually to Scoops' scores, as keeping it with the NBA with these two teams, the 76ers are actually in trouble. I'm sorry, the Cavaliers are actually in trouble as the 76ers have a 54-48 lead at halftime right now. And the Thunder have a 47-37 lead over the Pelicans, while the Pacers and Magic are currently tied up in Orlando at 55 points apiece. Keeping it over in New York now, the Bulls have a 43-35 lead over the Knicks, while still in New York, the Nets have a 57-55 lead over the Celtics. The Pistons and Bucks have just tipped off over here recently, as with 3 minutes left in the first, the Pistons have a 24-16 lead over the Bucks. That is currently all the time I have for you guys right now, so I'm going to kick it back to the boys for the continuation of Jabba and the Mouth.
Any questions?
What is this? This is the Jabba and the Mouth Show.
Force milk out of somebody's body. Potentially harmful. Not me. Goodbye. I never heard of the skin flu. 203-470-0918 is the number to call. You're listening to Jabba in the Mouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks. My co-host, Jabba Chipman and Speedy Petey. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including Jabba in the Mouth, every single Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out all logo listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Oh, Jabba, it's been crazy. It's been a crazy, crazy week, and I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to entertain all the fans out there. By the way, we hit 20,000 downloads so far this month on Apple Podcast. We are early this month. So for all the fans out there on Apple Podcast downloading our show and our shows throughout the weeks, we really appreciate you guys. And what is it? The 16th today? What is today's date? I'm 13th. A little lost. The 13th. All right, there you go. 13th. And we already almost have 20,000 downloads. So thank you to all the fans downloading all the different stuff that we're posting up on Apple Podcasts as well. Former Duke basketball star and NBA player Kyle Singler posted cryptic Instagram post saying that he fears for his life. He mentioned being mistreated and abused and how people in his community perceive him as a problem when he always has been a helpful person. He mentioned many people since he retired from basketball don't value or treat him properly. The video has been shared for over 12,000 times, including from former NBA players such as Kevin Love and Andre Drummond. The NBA Players Association has reached out to Singler's family in an effort to find him help. So I don't know Kyle Singler personally. I did watch him play college ball. Anybody that knows me knows I'm a Duke Blue Devil fan. If I was Coach K right now and he's retired, I would absolutely find out where Kyle is, and I would hitch a ride or a plane all the way where Kyle Singler is and try to figure out what is going on in this man's head. I did not watch the video. I heard about the video. I think there were a couple of posts on social media that people say that he doesn't look right. He doesn't look right in that mental situation. And this has been going on for professional athletes ever since they walk away from sports. I've seen it with actors. Jonathan Brandis. Does anybody remember him? Jonathan Brandis. He was in Ladybugs. He was in that Chuck Norris movie. What is it? Sidekicks. After he stepped away from his career in the movie business, he got into this dark situation, started doing drugs, started doing stupid things, and winded up hanging himself and killing himself because he had mental issues, because he didn't realize that his life meant anything after walking away from the movie business. When you are on top of the world, Jabba, you know this. When you're on top of the world and you're looked at as the savior, not only the savior, you're a fan favorite. You're a fan that wears your jersey and travels and wants to meet you, wants your autograph, and you feel like you're the center of attention. And then all of a sudden, with a blink of an eye, with the snap of the finger, you're gone. You disappear off the face of the earth. And there's nothing besides the money that you made and your family and maybe friends that you made in your career. There is nothing that you have to look forward to in your offset career time. Now, obviously, we've listened to Eric Hosmer. Eric Hosmer started obviously a podcast. There are people, there are athletes after they retire. There's opportunities for them to do other things, to work as an analyst, to write a book, or do something else, own a sports team, or own a clothing line. There's many different things. As you, Jabba, opening up, different restaurants, American whiskey, and doing the things that you do offset of your career as a baseball player. Kyle Singler, I don't know how much money he's made, and we can actually look it up. We can see how much his net worth is. I don't know how much money he has, but obviously not enough, because this guy looks like an absolute bum. I've seen pictures of him. He doesn't look healthy. He's not taking care of himself. Kyle Singler was a good-looking young man. I mean, when you go and play for Duke, you play for a world-renowned place like the Blue Devils, and you go to Duke, I mean, that's a top collegiate school. That you have to be smart to go to that school. I mean, you don't have to be stupid like Kyrie Irving, but you have to have some kind of intelligence to go and play for the Duke Blue Devils. So when you hear a story like this for a kid, and he is still a kid. I mean, he's in his 30s. He didn't have much of an NBA career. Maybe he, obviously organizations thought there was something not ticking right in his head, and maybe that's why he's not playing in the NBA anymore. Or maybe he wasn't good anymore. He wasn't good enough to stay in the NBA. Obviously, stuff behind the doors or stuff off the court was going on in this man's head, and he needed help. And his family should be finding ways to help him instead of him going on social media and making himself look like a complete idiot.
Yeah, it's a scary thing when you look at like post-career, like how are you going to be able to get away from the game? And obviously every retirement situation is different for the athletes. Obviously, Jabba, I know you probably been with a lot of different athletes that have been like contemplating whether they still have that love for the game or like have the passion ready for them going forward. And it seems like he was one of those that was stuck in between, because he was like a 6-year NBA player. He was a good player on that OKC team off the bench. And he was, like you said, a great player when he was with Duke. And that's where a lot of his stardom has come from. But you see the NBA players really rallying around it, a lot of big names and that kind of thing. You would have the basketball community on your side, but it doesn't seem like he had the other communities on his side too. Like these, whether it's his hometown, whether it's his companies that he's been part of since then, like going after him like that and saying he's a problem, like that's definitely concerning. And you have to hope that they can get the help that he needs. Hopefully the NBA can find his family, like you were saying, get some help, because the NBA, one thing they do well is they're with the players. They've been supporting a lot of these former players in the past. So hopefully they can get him what he needs.
Yeah, I think it's, you never know what somebody's, what they're thinking, feeling, if they're stuck. You get in your own headspace, and yeah, it's just everybody handles it different, and it's sad to see because, having the opportunities that we do, and, sometimes you got to ask for help. You can't feel like you're too prideful or whatever. If you're in that spot and literally, ask for help, or, I mean, obviously, guys reached out and, fire a message away. Obviously, they're seeing everything. Like, if you don't want to talk to a professional therapist or whatever, like, talk to the buddies that, have gotten out of the game. And Kevin Love came out and they's like, yeah, we grew up playing against each other and, got to know him very well. And so, yeah, it's sad because, you get stuck in a sinkhole and you feel like it just keeps getting deeper and deeper and you can't get out of it. So hopefully somebody has reached out. Hopefully somebody has, done something to get him the help that he needs. And I mean, that could just be talking to somebody, that could be, who knows? And like I said, it's you really don't know. And it's tough when you see it go on social media when it didn't really have to. And I don't know if that was a cry for help. I mean, that's just what it seems like, but you never know what anybody's going through. So, you got to hope and pray that he gets the help he needs and, he stays safe and can continue to grow and move on and live a healthy life and be better for it. So yeah, it's just fingers crossed and keep praying for him to hope that he gets the help he needs.
He's 36 years old. He's still fairly young. I mean, the guy didn't even start his life, and he's talking about death and all these crazy things that I'm reading the story right now. It's pretty sad. It was posted. There's a YouTube. I didn't get a chance to watch after the show. I'm going to get a chance to watch it, but he doesn't look sane. There's something going on brain-wise. And we've seen this before. I mean, you could be born with bipolar disorder and maybe you never knew you had it. And after your career, it starts to hit you. Things happen. I mean, there are so many things that can happen to you mentally. I know you can have a nervous breakdown. I've seen this before. I have a friend that killed himself, drug overdose. He didn't think that he had anything to live for, and he killed himself. And it's sad because his family, his father killed himself. For the same thing happened to his father because he just wasn't happy with his life or where his life has taken him. And you try to be the best possible friend that you can be. And you try to be in that kid's life. You want to make sure that he's okay, that he's well enough to know that you're always going to be there for him. I don't know if Kyle Singler has that. I don't know his family personally. I know he has a brother named EJ Singler who plays in the NBA, who played in the NBA. So it's not like he doesn't have somebody there. I know he's friends with the Plumlees, who have been in the league. There's 3 of them that have been in the league. So he's got a connection with a lot of these NBA players. Why, knowing that this was going on, and I'm sure this wasn't a secret. If you're talking to this guy and you've been speaking to this guy since he walked away from the game, and know that he's doing these weird things. It's not just if you're going on social media and putting things out there, you obviously know he's doing things off social media that he shouldn't be. So why aren't you going over there? Why aren't you putting the time and effort into making sure that he is okay, that he's sane? I'm looking at I don't think he has any, I don't think he's dating anybody. Obviously he's single. And it looks like he's just in a bad situation. He's in a bad state of mind. I feel so bad. If I knew the kid and I could reach out to him and gave him a helping hand, I would absolutely do that. I just don't know him personally. And it's just a sad situation. I only hope that his family knows that if he doesn't get this kind of help, there could be consequences and you could lose somebody like this.
The thing that scares me, guys, is this picture I have in the top right of the screen right now. He's not wearing a shirt. This is from that video in a very empty looking apartment. With guys like this, look, I'm not an expert, and it's easy for the average guy to just look at it. He had the money and the fame. He had probably 2 different contracts in the NBA. He was a great college player, pre-NIL, but great college player champion. But look at him now, and it's easy to say, well, he lost it all. It's you can't lose it like that. Well, if you don't surround yourself with family and people that love you, and go off on your own, and it's very easy to fall into these kind of funks. And just because you weren't diagnosed with something when you were a kid, it's something that we're learning a lot in mental health. There's adult onset ADD. There's adult onset bipolar and depression. There's all these things that happen to you as you get older that a lot of people don't realize is more normal than not normal. And a guy like Singler, you just really wish that this doesn't. And obviously the Delonte West story is prevalent in all our minds. This guy was a championship player on the Cavs. He was great in college with Jameer Nelson on that St. Joe's team. And then it got to the point where now we keep hearing every so often that he's homeless, he's getting arrested. And this is a guy that completely fell off, and they've tried to help him. And it's just really sad that they haven't been able to. I really hope Singler doesn't go down that same path.
Yeah, I'd shout out to Singler. I'm wishing the best for him. Obviously, I was going to bring up Delonte West. That's probably the most recent version for the NBA that's been down this path. I mean, in June, he just had a heart attack and was found unresponsive. Delonte West was. So hopefully the NBA has kind of a program or something set aside that they can help these guys, because Singler saying he's been in that place for 5 years, doesn't have a shred of furniture, doesn't look like he has anything going for him. He probably has never had this either. Like, he went to Duke. He's probably the most popular kid there. Always had friends around, always had people around. He was in the NBA, always having those guys around him. And now he's alone, doesn't have anybody, or feels like he doesn't have anybody. So hopefully the NBA jumps on this and they make it a point that they're helping these guys, because if they continue to let this happen, you're going to hear more and more stories about it. I can guarantee that.
How do you not know that seeing or knowing that this kid has no furniture in his house, that there's not something going on in that kid's head? I mean, He has friends. There are people probably involved or have some kind of connection with him. If you know you're going into the house and he has no furniture, there's something not right. Does anybody remember Chris Henry? Does anybody remember the bipolar disorder that he had as an NFL player? Played for the Cincinnati Bengals. He did die, and he donated his, his organs to many different people. This guy had a bipolar disorder, mental issues that eventually cost him his NFL career, and then obviously death. This has been a problem that not only the NBA, but the NFL, the NHL, we've heard bipolar disorder has affected many NHL players in the past, which cost them their lives. So if you know this is going on, why aren't you going out there? Yeah, these are multi-billion-dollar organizations. That's what they are. And again, I'm going back to the NFL. We've had NFL players on this show, and I've argued with many different of executives that I have spoken to off air at events, NFL executives, stating to them, why don't they have benefits after they leave the game? They need benefits. They need to be taken care of. These guys have risked their lives. These guys have put their time and effort to build your sport, to put your sport on a pedestal. Yes, they're making millions and millions of dollars. Yes, they get a chance to travel in five-star restaurants, five-star hotels, and travel on air in great, prestigious places. That's great. But the situation is that when these guys leave the game, they need help. And if they don't have health benefits, yes, they got millions and millions of dollars, but it costs money to talk to psychiatrists and psychologists. It costs money to get prescription and drugs. They should be covered. And this is a big problem that the NBA, the NHL, the NFL, the MLB, they should all investigate and understand that these players should be taken care of.
Yeah, you look at the benefits that could be available too with a lot more technology and modern medicine and even stuff like that. But even like we were talking about before, like just support groups, so guys that could help you out. Java, you were talking about before about some form of therapy, that something like that could help them as well. Like these things should be available by leagues to be able to do that. Now, I said the NBA is probably a little more progressive than some of the other ones, but still, where are those coming for the former players right now? They care so much about the current players. Where is it for the former?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just as important, like in the transition. And I know in baseball, we have, like, I guess for lack of a better term, like workshops. I mean, that's probably the best way to describe it. But yeah, once you get to a certain point, they're in a transition, and I think there are committees, and I know some do. I just don't know how involved, and I know it's like, we have certain caveats that can help in certain ways, like kid gets sick, you can call and be like, hey, where's the best so and so type of doctor, and there's all that for certain situations. So I think they're in place. I just don't think enough people either know about them or are embarrassed to use them. And I think when you look at it as a whole, I think you don't ever want to, being that alpha male and what you don't want to feel like you have to ask for help. And so I think, it's in place. I know in baseball it is. I can't speak on the others, but it's just, I think it's the process of trying to go through it is a lot, and trying to just bring yourself to be able to do it, I think is a big deal too.
Remember Simone Biles? Remember, what was it, 4 years ago? Not this past Olympics, but 4 years ago when she decided, in the middle of the Olympics to step away, and cost her a couple of medals because she had bipolar disorder and she couldn't handle the situation, and she stepped away and the press attacked her and she didn't even know what to do. But Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson came out recently and said that he had bipolar depression. And this guy's a multi-millionaire. He's making more money than God is. This guy is the highest paid actor in the acting business, in the Hollywood business. And this guy has bipolar disorder. So it's not just, you wouldn't even expect some of these guys to have a disorder like that, because these guys they're flying high. They're making all this money. These women are flying high, Simone Biles making millions and millions and millions of dollars a year through endorsements and advertisements. And she still has this disorder. So it is a bad situation. But the problem is, are these athletes getting taken care of after the fact, after they're out of the limelight? That's something that these professional organizations need to look after. These guys have needed this help for years. We've had ex-NFL players on this show that came out strictly and told us they have CTE. They have problems with their brain, and they're not being taken care of. The NFL is not looking out for them, that they have to find their own help. They don't have the money to pay to get the help that they need. That's sad when Roger Goodell is making $55 million a year. He has full benefits and his family has full benefits for the rest of their lives in his own jet. But these players that put their lives on the line, their bodies on the line, year in and year out, and now the faces of the organization, that they don't have the benefits that they need to take care of themselves and their families.
Yeah, it's a problem too with all the young deaths we've seen in these sports too. Like we were talking about Vontae Davis earlier in the year, Demaryius Thomas that just recently passed. I think there was a running back, Alex Collins for the Ravens, 27 years old, that passed away. Like you need to be able to get these kinds of issues solved. We were talking about it in baseball last week with Jose Fernandez. Like you need to get those kind of issues resolved, whatever they're involved in, and get the kind of help off the field. And Jabba, you said it might be like progressively better for baseball, and it's certainly not the same way for football, as Errol was just saying. And it's a really sad truth that it's coming into, and you just hope it doesn't get to that kind of extreme.
But Jabba's saying baseball, there are workshops, but are they helping you pay for that? Are they giving you the benefits? Jabba's saying they are. So, I mean, obviously the MLB is looking to help their players and their athletes, but again, there are other sports that are not giving you those opportunities where you can go. I don't know if baseball is going to help you pay for knee surgery. Are they doing that, Jabba? If you need knee surgery because of the game after you walk away from the game, I don't know if baseball is doing that. Are they doing that, Jabba? No,
I mean, you can still have your same insurance that you had.
Mm-hmm. You got to pay for it,
but it's out of your pocket now, and it's expensive. And then if you get out of it, you can't get back in. But like when I was talking about those workshops and stuff, when I say they've been progressive in doing it, they do them online. So you're in the comfort of wherever you're at, and it's not like, because some people don't like around people talking about sensitive subjects, and if you're in your own safe space and you have that, then I think it can help. But yeah, it's once. I mean, yeah, because there's lingering injuries. I mean, that you're gonna have just from playing as much as you did and putting your body through it. But yeah, it's all on you when it's said and done to find your best insurance for the money and what you get, and if you have kids, if you don't have kids, if you have a wife, if you don't have a wife. So other than that, they do point you in the right direction. They don't necessarily do it for you. So I mean, it can always be better. I mean, that's just the way it is, because you don't worry about anything when you're playing because everything gets done for you. It's like, oh, I need to go see the doctor. Oh, doc will be in about 45 minutes. Not like you have to go anywhere. So yeah, it's definitely a transition in more ways than one.
Well, the NBA right now has an opportunity to be kind of a trend center for this, with Singler at the forefront of it. Obviously, Delonte West was a while ago. Mark Cuban came out and said he helped him out, but it was a little bit too little too late there. So with this playoff right now, they should be harping on it hard, and trying to get these guys, help and actually promoting that they're doing that. So that way people are like, oh, okay, there is something going on, kind of get a trend started, and hopefully the other leagues take after it.
I want to bring up Kevin Love for a second, because if there's going to be someone who starts in the NBA, and he was the first person that I saw responded to Singler saying that he was there. Kevin Love, was on that was a champion with LeBron and Kyrie in Cleveland, and he took a lot of crap. He had to become the third guy. It wasn't as easy for him as it was for Bosh in Miami. And, he ended up becoming a role player. He lost some of his athleticism. It was really hard for him to deal with. He got a lot of hate when the Cavs started falling off as well, and LeBron left, of course. But that's a guy that has been through the war, and you have to, and that's what it is. Singler's going through a war right now with himself. Kevin Love was able to do it, but I think Kevin Love was able to surround himself with more people that loved him, and that's what I brought up before. And you could it's really scary looking at him in an empty, looking like an abandoned apartment that maybe he sold the furniture out of, or maybe he just picked it up because he got thrown out of the last place, or maybe it's just a new place and he's just trying to get away from people. Either way, you don't want him to be alone and posting things like that. Luckily for today, years ago, guys like this, they would just be gone. You wouldn't know what happened to them. With social media, being able to reach out and show that you're hurting, at least today, we have a way to help these guys. So let's really hope and pray that he gets the help, man.
And before we go on to the next subject, I will say this, and again, going back to legalizing ways to help these players. And obviously Jabba says baseball is trying to help them in certain ways. I also believe that when you are a professional athlete, the first thing you're going to get a phone call from your best friend. You're going to get a phone call from your family. You're making $4.5 million. Could you throw me a couple of bucks here? Could you throw me a couple of bucks there? This is what happens. These athletes, they make so much money and they're helping out people, and all that money just completely disintegrates. It disappears. And by the time your career is over, which is really short, it's not that long, unless you're LeBron James and you're just a freakish athlete. As a professional athlete at the top of your game, an average athlete has a 3.5-4 year span, and then they're done. Their careers are over at the top of their game. I mean, there are some obviously great athletes that have long-lasting careers. Aaron Judge, and we've mentioned it, Ken Griffey Jr. These guys are some of the best. Barry Bonds. There are not a lot of these athletes. They're very few. We've said this in football. How many athletes, how many football players get drafted in the NFL every single year? What is it, 250? How many of those 250 players getting drafted make those football teams? Just think about that. 50, maybe? So just think about that. There's 250 players that get drafted, and maybe 50 or 60 make those rosters, make certain rosters in certain teams. So, and there's only a guaranteed spot for the first, second, and third round picks. Fourth round picks, there's no guarantees. I don't care what anybody says. Fifth round, sixth round, seventh round, if you're drafted in the 5th, 6th, or 7th round, there's a very good chance you don't make those teams in those rosters. So
quickly before we get Wes on Java, do you think that percentage is for baseball too? Because they're in all the farm systems. Like, how many do you think they make?
Oh, good night. I mean, it's probably, well, you got to think there's no more short seasons, so you have extended spring, rookie ball, low A, high A, double A, triple A. So think you got 40 guys on 7 teams, plus all the guys on the 40-man, plus all the new draft picks that come in. I mean, granted, they lowered it, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy that that these guys hang around so long in minor leagues, and then, after 8-9 years, they're finally getting a chance, and, they get a cup of coffee and then they're done. I mean, in the minor leagues, I mean, they've done a better job of taking care of those guys because they get paid peanuts. I mean, those minor league guys are still working jobs in the off season. It's because they don't make enough money. So, yeah, I would say probably baseball is the most. I mean, if you're a senior and you get drafted in like the 18th round, you're getting like $1,000 in an airline ticket. That's it.
Bag of balls. That's
Yeah.
what you're gonna get. Maybe Speedy's balls, right, Speedy? Yeah, you wouldn't share your balls. No. Wouldn't share anything. How about a piece of cake? Would you share any, cake with them?
I would give them cake. I don't care about sharing.
That's not nice.
Full
You
slice
should
of cake.
share.
They can have the full slice of cake if they really are struggling.
What about sandwiches, Speedy?
Again, if they're struggling, yeah, they can have a sandwich.
Would you share?
No, they can. I can give them the full sandwich if they're struggling. Probably easier for me to buy a sandwich again than having to struggle to share it. I'll give them more food.
Sharing is caring, as we see in this beautiful graphic for you, Speedy. It definitely makes a lot of sense for you. And look, it's a Juan Soto burger. I mean, sandwich right there. That looks like I don't know. What's in that? What's in that sandwich?
A corpse.
A corpse.
Wow, that was morbid.
Well, you got the Soto and Alonso bun right there. Buns there, Speedy. I heard you. I
love
that,
buns.
that was
Speedy,
your
you like
favorite
buns?
kind.
What's your favorite
Tito
bun?
Alonso's going to accept it. I don't know that much analysis of buns to be able to know that.
I mean, what buns would you like to grab? I mean, seriously, what buns do you like to grab?
I don't care.
You don't care? Do you like them dark? You like them white? What do you like?
I don't care.
What do you like?
I'm not grabbing a bun.
Well, you have to eat, right?
Thank you.
So you need a bun. So what color?
Congratulations.
What kind of bun?
I don't know. I don't know this much analysis on different bun brands.
Well, I like buns. I'm going to go a little light, a little light bun, because it kind of has like a nice, a nice grip, like grip to it. You like grip?
I don't care.
You don't like to grip anything? You don't like to?
I don't not that emphasizing on grip.
Oh, well, you definitely need to grip something. I mean, you got to pull, you got to yank, you got to do all that stuff, right? No. So you don't want to yank? No. You don't want to pull?
I don't care.
You don't care about much of anything tonight. I think you're a little lost tonight. Just a little. Anyways, when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, because Speedy is a little lost, he doesn't want to grip, he doesn't want to grab, he doesn't like any buns. I like buns. I mean, Scoops likes buns. It looks like Owen, the master tick of them all, he likes buns. We all know Mr. Fish and Jabba love their buns, but Speedy, he's just not a bun man. So you just like the beef. Whatever. You're just going to eat the beef. Whatever. No buns for you, just beef.
How thick do you like the beef?
I didn't say beef. I like beef. That's what I'm going to say. Anyways, when we come back, we will have the one, the only Worldwide Wes for Let's Parlay. But first, the bun man himself, or the light-skinned bun man himself, Mr. Tommy Scoops.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute
Are you ready to get loud?
with Tommy Scoops.
Well, I guess I'm the bun man now, giving you the loudmouth sports minute. I'm sorry, just the sports minute here on Java in the Mouth. And starting off with some more NFL, the Falcons quarterback Kirk Cousins is actually dealing with a shoulder and an elbow injury, and Cousins was not a full participant at all, actually extremely limited today in practice, and if not ready to go Sunday, the team will be looking to backup quarterback rookie Michael Penix Jr. In other NFL news, the Broncos wide receiver Josh Reynolds is actually designated to return off of IR after dealing with a hand injury and even being shot in the arm and grazed in the head last month. Coach Payton says that Reynolds is on track to return very, very soon. Finishing it up, the Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf was actually a full go in practice today, and after missing the last 2 games with an MCL sprain, Metcalf is more than likely to play and return Sunday versus the 49ers. Now it's time for Scoops and Scores. We're currently in the NBA. The Celtics have a hefty 80-68 lead over the Nets in the third quarter, while the Bulls have a 77-61 lead over the Knicks in the third quarter with 7 minutes remaining. With 6 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter, the Magic have an 83-75 lead over the Pacers, while the Cavaliers are holding on tight with a 74-71 lead over the 76ers. The Thunder currently have a 67-59 lead over the Pelicans right now, and the Rockets have a 61-56 lead over the Clippers heading into halftime right now, while the Pistons also have a 54-45 lead in the second quarter, and the Wizards and Spurs are actually tied up with 67 points on the board at halftime. That is currently all the time I have for you guys right now, so I'm going to kick it back to the boys for Jabba and the Mouth.
Any questions?
What is this? This is the Jabba and the Mouth Show.
Pain, you're a grown man. A nerd. 203-470-0918. You're listening to Jabba and the Mouth. I'm your host, Daryl Marks. My co-hosts, Jabba Chamberlain and Speedy Petey, the guy that doesn't like buns. I have no idea why he would eat a sandwich without a bun. It doesn't make any sense. I guess he just likes his beef. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including Jabba and the Mouth, every single Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. I know somebody likes his buns, especially ones at Alabama games. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Worldwide West. Let's go, Speedy. Let's parlay.
It's time for Let's Parlay.
All right. What kind of buns do you like, Mr. West?
Well, before we start talking about my buns, I got to ask you how your genitals are doing.
They're not good. I'm still trying to pass this rock. I feel like it's in my intestines area, but there's no guarantees it's there. I've been getting really sharp needling pains over there. So I'm just praying to God the prescriptions that they're giving me and the amount of water that I'm sucking down. I think I drank in the last 2 days at least, I would say, 18 bottles of water. So it's got to be at its tail end. And if it isn't, then I'm getting this surgery, and I don't want to even deal with what I've heard I'm going to have to deal with for the next week and a half after getting it done. I will be here. So no matter what, if I get a stint put in my you-know-what, I will still be doing a show live. I've done it. I've had neck surgery. I've done a live show. I've been dealing with this, and I've been doing a live show. So I also had hip surgery, and I still did a live show. So I'm not going to walk away, ladies and gentlemen, at any time, no matter how much pain I'm in. So there you go, Wes.
Well,
thank you for asking.
I had to ask because, well, one, I care about your well-being, but the other part is I figured that at minimum it would be entertaining to everybody that's watching and listening to hear what you're going through.
Well, what do you say? Entertaining?
Yeah, your description is usually pretty graphic.
This is what I would do. Everybody that keeps telling me what it's going to feel like to spit this rock out of my you-know-what, I probably want to cut it off. So anybody that I've talked to that have had this kidney stone and they had to pass it, everybody tells me this rock, which is 4 millimeters, I've heard somebody have a 5.5 millimeter rock and he had to, piss it out, and telling me that it felt like somebody was sticking a knife in their area over there. I could only imagine when it gets to my shaft what I'm going to be dealing with. So for fans out there, if you want to laugh, I will record myself screaming for dear life when I'm in the bathroom trying to piss this thing out. So there you go.
All right. There we go.
All right. So let's go. Everybody knows this story. We do Let's Parlay. It's just Wes. He's going to give your top. Well, he's going to give his top 3 picks for the rest of the week, and he's going to give you his final one as his parlay. Are you ready, Wes?
Yeah, and we're coming off a 4-0 from last week. Clean sweep.
That's right. 4-0.
So I'm gonna go Canadian football because it's the Grey Cup, and so everybody that pays attention to me for longer than 3 minutes knows I love my football north of the border. It comes at a perfect time when we're all jonesing for football. Their season kicks off in June. The Grey Cup, I think, outside of the Stanley Cup, is the coolest looking trophy in all of sports. They keep adding plaques to it. The Canadian Mountie carries it onto the field. And it's a festival, whatever city it's in. This year it's in Vancouver, next year it's in Winnipeg. But it's like this whole festival, and because CFL is not what NHL is, it's not the NFL, and so it makes it a very fan-friendly event. The fans can get close to CFL legends and everything else. So this is a unique matchup. So we missed our opportunity to hit the future on Saskatchewan, but this is Toronto against Winnipeg. Winnipeg's been in every Grey Cup for the last 6, possibly 7 years. They skipped one with COVID, but this spread opened and I jumped on it because it's just too many points. The spread opened at 10.5, went to 11. I jumped on it at 10.5. I'm taking the points. This is just way too many points. Chad Kelly is playing tremendous ball right now. Toronto has been in playoff mode for the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks. That goes well beyond the last couple weeks of playoff. Winnipeg has had their spot pretty much locked in. They've been trying to get their roster healthy. Toronto's D is awesome, and Chad Kelly will make you pay if they have extra chances. 10.5 is just way too many. I'm taking 10.5 Toronto, and I'm looking forward to the halftime performance. I think last year Green Day performed at halftime, so at 5 o'clock on Sunday I will be watching the CFL.
One of my favorite albums, Dookie, from Green Day. So it's one of the greatest albums, punk albums that ever come out. And Nirvana, of course. We all know Smells Like Teen Spirit. So I love that album too. So anyways, give us a number 2, my friend.
I'll be quick with this one. I'm taking Cleveland and I'm taking the money line. You can take 1 point if you want to. Everybody knows my rule is when you fire your head coach, you bet that team the following week, unless there's something really weird. We did. New Orleans won. And it's going to be gone like a fart in the wind. J-Mo is coming off of a 3-interception performance. He's not going to repeat that kind of performance. I like him as quarterback for Cleveland. That's still a pretty good roster. I'm taking Cleveland money line. They're going to New Orleans to win convincingly.
I couldn't believe they fired their coach, just so everybody knows. I could not believe it. But hey, didn't he win Coach of the Year last year?
Dennis Allen?
I'm sorry. We're talking about Cleveland, right?
Cleveland.
No. New Orleans is who fired their coach. They came out one last week.
I thought you said
Cleveland.
I thought you said Cleveland. I didn't. You said that. I thought you said that Cleveland fired their coach. You just said Cleveland. All right, whatever.
No. I like Cleveland because the fart in the wind of New Orleans having some momentum.
They fired their coach. That's what I thought you said.
No.
Whatever. Give us your second pick. I mean, third pick.
Yeah, I'm really in the mood to take points, but I'm going to go to college real quick, and then we'll go back to the NFL. College, I am laying 8.5 points on Marshall. I like their quarterback. I really like their passing game and their passing defense. The spread, it's about split down the middle where the action is, but the spread opened at 9.5. So as we watch and get to 8.5 now, I see value on getting that extra point back. The difference between 8.5 and 9 is, that's tremendous. So I'm laying 8.5. I'm taking Marshall on the road at Coastal.
All right, give us your final pick of the week.
I got a bunch of them. I thought I would pick on Brian Kelly again because I think he's nothing. And I'm really looking forward to where he ends up because these coaches that don't make it in the SEC, like it's just wild how they just get annexed. I mean, it is like Tom Herman was a great coach, and he just didn't make it at Texas. Now he's at Florida Atlantic or Florida International, and it's wild to me where Jim Mora is coaching UConn. It's just weird how some of these coaches at big programs end up completely worthless. And so I think it's going to be interesting to see where Brian Kelly goes, because I think they got 2 more L's, but I'm not going to play that game. I'm actually going to take the Bears. It's only 17% of the tickets are on the Bears right now, taking points. And the spread is moved in favor of the Bears. It was 6.5. Now it's 5.5. Again, I like when teams fire their coach. The Bears they're not a well-run organization historically, but the players on the field don't know anything about 10 years ago, and Ryan Poles doesn't know anything about 4 years ago. I think the right decision was made to fire the O coordinator, and I think that's going to light a fire underneath the offense. They have all the right pieces in place. This is a division matchup. Normally in a division matchup, anything above 3 is worth looking at the dog. So 5.5 points. It's at Soldier Field. There's been some really odd weaknesses on the Green Bay offense at times. So I'm going to take the 5.5, and I'm going to take Chicago, the team that has all of the pieces in place to find some offensive fire.
All right, Wes. Thank you for joining us as always. Fantastic. Speedy, did you have all the picks? Did you write them down?
Mm-hmm. So I'm about to text them to Chaz too, because he wanted them as well.
Oh, well, Chaz is going to, press on and move on as always. But thank you, Wes, as always, giving us your best picks of the week.
Have a good night, fellas.
We know you're busy. You got a son, you got a kid, and Wes is on his way, moving along as always. But obviously, if you haven't checked that out, I thought he was talking about Cleveland. He mentioned Cleveland. He said the Cleveland. So I didn't even know Stefanski got fired. And then he was talking about it. And while he was talking about it, I'm looking it out. I didn't see anything. So I guess he was meant. I had no idea. And I know Stefanski's had a bad year. I mean, Cleveland's had a bad year. So I was like, wow, I didn't hear we didn't even have that as a headline. I would definitely have used that. So I was kind of shocked.
Right.
Yeah, well, he brought up Cleveland and he was talking about New Orleans. So I thought he was talking about the Cleveland. Maybe he knew something I didn't know, that the Cleveland Browns fired Stefanski, but I guess I misunderstood what he was saying. But nevertheless, he was 4-0 last week, and moving forward, ladies and gentlemen, maybe he's 4-0 this week. They've been pretty much on point. ESPN's Brian Windhorst reports that the Lakers are only allowing Bronny James to play in the G League home games this season. JJ Redick also said that Bronny would be switching between the Lakers roster and their G League team, the South Bay Lakers, very often this season. South Bay President Joey Buss said they will be flexible about Bronny's playing time when he is in the G League. Windhorst added that he doesn't understand the move and thinks that it's nepotism that doesn't help South Bay or Bronny. He thinks that Bronny would be a better overall player by March if he gets more time and development full-time in the G League. Bronny has played 16 minutes in 6 games and has 1 basket so far with the Lakers. Obviously, Bronny James wasn't ready to play in the NBA. Okay, I didn't think that he was ready to play in the NBA. LeBron James wanted to be the first father and son to play on a team together. So obviously, this is special to him, and they got a chance to do that. Now, Bronny's going to head down to the G League, and now they're making rules and stipulations for Bronny James. Listen, if he's in the G League, he should be playing full-time. If you're going to keep him in the G League. If you're not going to keep him in the G League, then you might as well have kept him up with the Lakers and let him practice and let him work out with the team and get to know the game, learn the speed of the game. This is a kid that should have played at least 1 more year of college ball. He shouldn't have jumped into the NBA. Maybe he would have figured things out. Maybe he would have been a first-round draft pick. But again, the Lakers did what LeBron James wanted them to do. They wanted him to be drafted. He wanted his son to be a Laker, and he got his wish. What are they doing with Bronny James? Is Bronny James even going to be a part of this team's future? Obviously, he's not. Now, again, they're going to protect this kid. And LeBron James is the coach, the owner, or the co-owner of the Lakers. And he's going to do, or the GM too. He is going to do whatever is best for his son. I do believe the Lakers are going to call him up one way or another this year as the season prolongs. And if the Lakers have a chance to make the playoffs, Bronny will be a part of that roster. Why? Because LeBron James wants him to be a part of the festivities. He wants his son to be the face or be a part of the playoffs where he is a face for the organization. To me, I don't understand the Lakers organization. The Lakers organization should have never drafted Bronny because to me, Bronny James is never going to be a superstar player in the NBA. He's never even going to be a sixth man or a seventh man on this roster. He's not that good. He's not that talented as far. And everybody says, well, he's athletic. He has a great athletic ability. That's great. What you see, he's undersized for the position that he plays. He is undersized. Look at the NBA. He is right now considered what? A shooting guard, a two? An average two right now in the NBA is 6'5". This guy's 6'2". Who's he defending? Now, is he going to defend a point guard? The average point guard position and the size for an average point guard in the NBA is 6'3". So he's undersized as a point guard in the NBA. He doesn't have the offensive ability like a Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson's 6'2", and he has more of an athletic presence at his position. He doesn't have the ability that a guy like Jalen Brunson has. As a matter of fact, Jalen Brunson won 2 national championships. What did Bronny James do in college basketball for USC?
Scored 4 points a game in the worst year for the Pac-12 that we've seen in a long time.
It's a problem. And again, the Lakers did what LeBron James wanted them to do, and that was to draft Bronny James. But right now, it wasn't a great fit for the organization, and this organization decided to go with a rookie coach and JJ Redick. Hasn't worked out so far. It looks like it's working out. But who have the Lakers beaten? Who have the Lakers played so far this year? Not many great teams. And again, look at the Knicks. They're losing against the Bulls 90-81 in Madison Square Garden. So it doesn't speak high value right now that the Lakers have the record that they have. As the season prolongs and as the season becomes more, trying to get into the playoffs, trying to get a good seed, that's when we're going to see how good the Lakers are.
Yeah, the Lakers are only going to go as far as the health of these older players as well. Obviously, LeBron's done well at managing it, but Anthony Davis, these veteran point guards that they've been having for a while, that's as far as the Lakers are going to go. And it's nothing to do with where Bronny James will be and going, he's going to be on the Lakers roster, travel with them for some games and in the G League for others. And yeah, for any other prospect, that would probably be a hindrance to his development, but we knew this was going to happen coming in. It's the definition of nepotism, the way it is. If Bronny was going to be drafted by the Lakers to play with his father, it was going to happen this year this way anyway, in the limited playing time he was going to get in either league. And yes, the G League probably is a better spot for him to develop, but that doesn't mean he's going to automatically develop anyway. He scored 4 points a game at USC in the Pac-12's worst year of college basketball we've seen, at least in my lifetime, and we've seen probably in a long time. And they've always been a powerhouse in the past, too, on a USC team that was very good for a while as well. So that's the type of prospect you're getting with Bronny James. Like you said, he's undersized at the 2 position. He doesn't have the traits of a point guard because he's really only a shooter, and he's not even an amazing shooter. Like, he doesn't have the shooting ability that Trae Young has. Trae Young was undersized out of the draft, but he could shoot so well that it didn't matter. So that kind of thing does not bode well in Bronny James' favor. And Brian Windhorst, I think, is right in the instance of any other prospect to be developed. But you knew this was going to happen if you were drafting Bronny James to the Lakers, where you're going to have the LeBron attention, you're going to have the LeBron lifestyle coming to the Lakers just with a younger player that's not nearly as good.
Yeah, I mean, you knew exactly what was going to happen. I mean, being a father myself too, I mean, how cool would that be to be able to play with your son? Did he definitely need a couple more years? And we all know if he wasn't LeBron's son, he wouldn't have been drafted in the first place. But yeah, it's like now you're making rules for somebody that shouldn't even be in the league per se. And it's all because LeBron's dictating everything that goes along with it. And so I'm kind of tired of hearing about it just because it's like, all right, we know what he has. We know what he doesn't have. Like, let's move on. Like, he's not to say he's irrelevant, but he's not really relevant. So I just, when it comes from that standpoint, and Owen and I were talking about this at lunch, and I mean, he doesn't like LeBron anyways, so there was really no conversation to be had there. But yeah, I just think it's a dead end. He's gonna get whatever his dad wants him to get and suit up and travel and be a part of it. So it'll just kind of, I mean, we're gonna have to hear about it all year. So I mean, saddle up because it's gonna happen.
There's no question when you sit here and you listen to LeBron James and what he's all about. LeBron James is still the face of the NBA. But Bronny James is not LeBron. And I understand that LeBron James is going to do whatever he can to get his son ready for the NBA. And he's going to do whatever he can to get this guy developed so he could be the face of the Lakers when he walks away from the game. He is not LeBron James. LeBron James is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He will be considered one of the top 3 basketball players of all time. Bronny James is not even a second-tier player right now. And he's probably career-wise, if at best, is probably going to average 7 or 6 points a game. He is not anything to brag about. And again, Brian Windhorst has come out and said what he said about the Lakers deciding to do what they did and send him down to the G League. The only reason why they sent him down to the G League is one reason. They want to add a roster spot right now. That's the only reason why. And when the time comes and the Lakers make the trade and try to find value at the trade deadline, Bronny James will be called back up. That is the fact right now. The NBA is all about, proposed roster spots, and that's how they configure things, and how you need to have a certain amount of money right now. You have to have a certain amount of money on the bench. An average NBA player on the bench is average between $1 and $3 million. Okay, Bronny James right now is making his money. He's in a G League, and how much is he making? I think he's making about $2 million.
Yeah, it's the only fully guaranteed contract.
Just think about that.
Yeah.
Bronny James is the first player in NBA history who's really a G League player that has received guaranteed money as a second-round draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
Just think about that. And why? Because he's LeBron James's son. That's the only reason why. So, again, going back to the whole Bronny James and Joey Buss, who right now running the South Bay and the G League team over there for the Lakers, the fact is, the Lakers only brought him to the organization because LeBron wanted him there. LeBron is only going to be there for maybe another 2 years at best, and he's going to walk away. And Bronny is going to make his money nevertheless. If he's on the roster or he decides to part ways as an NBA player because he's LeBron James' son.
Kevin Fitz in the comment section. Bronny is the equivalent of a kid getting into a college because their father went there. Yeah, pretty much at this point, you're getting an NBA roster spot. And like you're saying, a fully guaranteed second-round pick, the first one in NBA history to get that kind of thing. And Java, like you were saying as well, like it's like these guys are going to go undrafted normally. And again, it sucks with the way the NBA draft is structured. Like there's only 2 rounds comparatively to a lot of the other sports that have Major League Baseball is a ton. They have all like 3 different types of drafts. Football has 7 and hockey has a lot too. But like it's even so, like Bronny does not have the traits of what it would have been right now. He's a raw college player that is undersized, and that kind of thing is going to be treated with that. But I forget the name that Errol had for like the NBA. The NBA is still run by LeBron James. You had some creative name for it last year when LeBron had all those SB speeches and all that crap, inflating his ego. But Bronny's going to inflate the ego, go along with it, whether it's his control or not, just because of the way the media is.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I guess it's not going to change. And I mean, you look at him getting the contract for 4 years, 7.9, and a roster spot. So just think if you're a dude that's grinded and is trying to earn a spot, and then you come see and have to compete against Bronny, and you're like, really, this is. It would piss me off. I mean, if I'm being perfectly honest, it would. But they're going to do whatever they can to make LeBron happy. It's going to be talked about and how they handled it and what they're doing. And it's because it's LeBron. And I mean, hate him, love him, could care less either way. He's going to go down as one of the greatest basketball players ever played.
I respect his game, Java. Who couldn't respect LeBron James's game? We know what kind of talent he is. He's changed the game. His position of the 3 or whatever you want to call him, the 3-4 type of position. I mean, he's built like an ox. He jumps like a deer. I mean, the guy, he's not human. He really is unbelievable. And the fact that he's 40 years old, 41 years old, and still playing at the top of his game, it's sensational to watch. But off the court, off the opportunity to see his grace on a basketball court, the guy has a big mouth. And he doesn't make the league look good when he comes out with the stupidity and the dumb arguments, not only politically, but, the way the game should be played, trying to help the league change the rules and cry to the referees the way he does after the game. I don't know if anybody watches the games, but I'm sure you do. At the end of the game, what's the first thing you see LeBron James do before he goes and shakes everybody's hands? He goes to the referees, right? And he puts his hands up and he's pointing out things that he saw on the court. Do you think that I'm not blind to see what LeBron James does? He does it. He's the only player in the NBA that does that every single game. Watch a Laker game. Guys, I'm telling you, I am not lying about this. Watch a Laker game. And after the game, watch it on TNT. You get a chance to see it. Are they playing on TNT? No, that's tomorrow. Well, go watch a TNT game. I don't know if the Lakers are featured on it. After the game, the first thing LeBron James does is walk up to the referees and speaks to the lead referee or 2 referees, says a couple of things, and then he walks away, and then he shakes everybody's hands. That's what LeBron James does. LeBron James has always been that way. And it's a big problem because now you got guys like James Harden over the years, Russell Westbrook, everybody. How did they learn? LeBron James has changed the game. There's no question that he has. But has he changed it for the better or the worse? Because when LeBron James walks away, who's the next superstar that's going to take and be the face of the NBA? Some people believe it's Anthony Edwards. They think Anthony Edwards is the next superstar that's going to be the face of the NBA. But how does that benefit the futures, the guys that we're going to see, the Cooper Flags that we've seen so far in college basketball, those type of guys that when they come into the NBA, they feel like they can do whatever they want and say whatever they want because they're the superstars of the league. Adam Silver is really not the commissioner of the league. LeBron James is. And that's the facts. Watch it. I don't know if anybody is blind to see where the NBA is heading. It is heading where LeBron James is going to be the new commissioner of the league when he walks away from the game. If not, he's going to be the owner of one of these teams because he's a multi-billionaire and he's already come out and said that he wants to own a professional basketball team.
Kevin, especially for you, Java, where's your son's contract to the New York Yankees? Is that coming anytime soon?
Man, I might have to get on that.
Yeah, you could negotiate with Brian Cashman to make that kind of thing work.
Yeah, that'll go over like a fart in church.
Don't worry, your son would have covered first base.
Oh, yeah. We work on PFPs.
Okay, yeah. Kevin, shout out to him as well. And I think as well, when you look at the way the league is, and I think this storyline is perfect for the NBA, the way it wants to go. The NBA media wants that kind of thing as well. And when you look at like the players running the league, obviously they don't formally run the league, but I mean, are tampering things really not as formal as it is in other sports? No, not in the NBA. Players are posting pictures with other photos and other players of other teams all the time. So they're negotiating long beforehand too. And that's why LeBron pioneered that kind of thing. I know these LeBron defenders want to say, oh no, the Celtics did before that. No, those were trades. And LeBron had it on TV, his decision to go to Miami. And now 14 years later, you're still seeing that with a G League player and Bronny James trying to get all this attention to get to himself. And again, any other player will be developed differently.
And again, and I'm sorry to cut you off, Job, but again, it's not just Bronny James. It really isn't. We're going to see this more often, and that's because the NBA is always looking for that father and son connection. Look at Scottie Pippen. Look at what his son just did. They're the first father and son. Obviously, Scottie Pippen is retired. The first father and son that actually had a triple-double in the NBA. They're the first 2 father and son that did it in the NBA. So, and we've seen Gary Payton Jr., what he's doing right now in the NBA, as he was, I think, a 2nd-round draft pick, and what he did with, I think, from Golden State.
Yeah, before he got hurt. Yeah.
Before he got hurt. So we're seeing these father and son connections that we have seen over the last couple of years. Kenyon Martin, look what his son's doing right now in the NBA. And again, nobody's bigger than LeBron James. Michael Jordan's sons tried to make it to the NBA. They never could because they were never good enough. Michael Jordan's special. You're not going to – there's not many players that you can define in professional sports. And Jabba, you know this, Ken Griffey Jr. Remember Ken Griffey Jr. Sr.? Ken Griffey Sr., he came into the league. He was a good player. At one point, he was an all-star. Ken Griffey Jr. was on a whole nother level, you know? And so, again, you're never going to see a superstar father and a son come into the league and do what the father did. Or maybe the father wasn't as good and the son does after his father played in the NBA or NHL or MLB. It's very hard to see that happen in a professional sport. You're talking about the best of the best player in the world at that position. So, I mean, it is crazy to think that I remember when LeBron James got drafted, he was a high school player coming up in Ohio, and he was being called the king. And I was like, king of what? Oh, okay. And he proved himself. I remember when I saw his son playing on a basketball court and everybody was talking about him. Remember Dwayne Wade's son? Everybody was talking about Dwayne Wade's son was going to be the next big basketball player in the NBA after his father retires. His father became partial owner, if I'm not mistaken, of the Utah Jazz. And he actually brought, after he became a free agent, his son became a free agent. He brought him to the G League in the Utah Jazz because his son was looking for a job. So he wasn't even good enough to be drafted.
Yeah, I guess I work with the great Danny Ainge.
I'm just speaking the truth, you know. I just speak the truth. Everybody doesn't want to hear it, and nobody wants to accept the fact that when everybody is trying to be compared to their father or compared to a former athlete that was their grandfather or great uncle, it's not positive. Look at the McCaffreys, okay? Christian McCaffrey is a sensational player. Jabba, we were talking about this. His father, Ed, was a great tight end in the NFL. Great tight end. But nobody even remembers where he was drafted. Does anybody besides Jabba, because I told him, does anybody know where Ed McCaffrey was drafted from? How about you, Fish? Bring Fish in. Fish, you're a football fan. Stop looking because you're looking. Don't look. Do you know where Ed McCaffrey was drafted?
Drafted, no, but I know he was on the Giants and the Broncos.
Yes, he was drafted by the New York Giants, okay? But his career changed when he went to the Broncos. He didn't really have a long-lasting career with the Giants. I think it was 2.5 years, and then he was traded to the Broncos. So Ed McCaffrey's career started when he went to the Broncos. So why I'm saying this is because it's very clear to see. Look at the Bosa brothers. Their father was an NFL player, but nobody remembers him. Okay, how about who's the guy that played on Oakland? That their two sons played in the NFL. He played in the 70s.
Oh, wow.
Howard Long.
Howie Long, yes.
Howie Long was in the NFL. This guy was an all-pro player, Hall of Famer. His two sons, Chris, and who was the other one?
Kyle.
Kyle was a good offensive lineman, but wasn't great. I mean, how long was his career with Chicago?
Yeah, he retired early.
Yeah, he played, 5 years, 4 years in the NFL. Chris was a good player. He won a couple of Super Bowls as a second-tier defensive lineman, but he wasn't anything to brag about. Howie was one of the greatest defensive linemen to ever play for Oakland. So, I mean, it's very hard to be compared to your father, who's one of the greatest at his position, and try to make the league and really make a name for yourself. It's very, very hard. Bronny has a long way to go if he believes he can be anywhere comparable to his father, which he can, because maybe Bryce has a chance. Maybe he has a better chance. The young man right now playing high school ball at the age of 17, who's 6'6" and has a chance to be somewhat of the same size of his father. Maybe Bryce is the James that is going to transition as the father and son duo or the father and son connection. I don't know, but Bronny James is definitely not the guy.
Yeah, no, I mean, I got to get my Nebraska reference in. You were talking about McCaffrey. Where did Luke, who's now with the Washington Commanders, where did he start his college career at?
There you go.
Nebraska, baby. Hey, I haven't had an avenue to get my Nebraska drop in yet. So everything else has been this, and then I was like, ooh, I can use this one. I was like, oh, I'm running out of time here. So I got to get my drop in here.
You had to break your record for the furthest in a show. You had to get it in there.
Yep, this is definitely the first it's gone.
2 hours, 8 minutes. You've made it. 2 hours, 8 minutes without Java making a Nebraska reference. It still breaks the record of Errol talking about anything that involves my random sexual instincts he claim I have.
I'll tell you this, Java. Football for Nebraska, there's one guy and one play that I always tried to do as a coach when I was with younger kids, and it was the Eric Crouch throw back to the quarterback, the Philly special before it was the Philly special. And it was just one of the most dynamic plays. That guy, I don't know if anyone remembers him, but that was a heck of a football player in college, man. And they didn't even give him a chance in the NFL. He was like a return man or something.
Yeah, he didn't want to run over the middle, and now he's selling playground equipment.
Yeah, and by the way, I want to give a shout out to Kevin Fitz because he's absolutely right. We were just talking about Ed, and we were talking about Christian. Luke McCaffrey is actually a pretty good young player right now in the NFL. He's sneaky good, and he's growing into his position in the NFL as well. So you're talking about a trio of McCaffreys that have been successful in the NFL. It does happen. Christian McCaffrey might go down as a better player than Ed. It's just Ed's a Hall of Famer. I think he did go to the Hall of Fame. I'm not sure, but he might be one of the few tight ends that made it to the Hall of Fame. He was a really good player. I think he won 2 Super Bowls with the Broncos and was a big part of those Bronco championships. He's definitely a borderline tight end Hall of Famer. There's no question, even if he didn't make the
I think he was a big slot. I think he was the wide receiver because they had Shannon Sharp over there. But I'm pretty sure he was like one of those slot guys. I think he was he's a champion with the Giants in '90, I believe.
Then he's won 3 Super Bowls.
He's won 3.
Yeah. Didn't win with the Giants. They had won 2 with the Broncos. So I'm pretty
Broncos
sure
have only won
with
3.
the Giants.
They won 3, and that was one of them was with Peyton Manning.
Oh, he was on that Niners team.
He was talking.
Interesting.
Yeah, in '94.
So he won 3 Super Bowls, 1 with the Giants and 2 with the Broncos, right? Am I right? Am I
No,
wrong?
Scoop said Niners and 2 with the Broncos.
Whatever. He won 3 Super Bowls. That's what I'm saying. He won 3 Super Bowls. All right. This is a good story. At his press conference, Joe Schoen says that the Giants are not far off, despite having a 2-8 record. Schoen also said he expects to keep his job going into next season. John Mara said during the offseason he expects both Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll to be there for both this season and next season. He also mentioned that the Giants being 1-5 in 1-score games and saying that the Giants will always compete in every game and not tank for a draft pick. Schoen also protected Daniel Jones, saying that the Giants' struggles aren't all on one person, and the quarterback market will be very difficult to judge. The Giants are on a bye week this week, and there is no decisions yet on who will start as the quarterback in week 12. Honestly, it doesn't matter who starts in week 12. I know Giant fans are sitting here and saying, let's get the pick. Let's try to get the highest pick we possibly can. I know that would be Aaron's or AKA Fishman's thought to it. I'm sure that's Scoops' thought to it. I'm sure that's Speedy's thought to it. I'm sure that's every single Giants fan out there right now. Their thought is, let's get the highest pick. If Hunter's sitting there at 3 or 4 right now for the New York Giants, let's scoop that baby up. So he's our future corner number 1 and our future second wide receiver on this roster. Could you imagine Travis Hunter on one side and Neighbors on the other? It doesn't matter who the quarterback is if you have weapons like that. The fact is right now, Joe Schoen doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Honestly. And as far as John Mara is concerned, we all know John Mara has no respect for Joe Schoen. If anybody watched Hard Knocks, you would know he has no respect for Joe Schoen after what he did with Saquon Barkley. He was not happy that Saquon Barkley went to a divisional team. He was not happy the way he handled the Saquon Barkley situation on Hard Knocks. And another thing, The problem with Joe Schoen is he's too open. He is too open to the public giving his information. There is no reason why. Let me ask you guys a question. And I am a Jet fan. And the Jets have always been open on social media. They've always been open with the Rex Ryan era, the Eric Mangini era, every single coach, the Herm Edwards era, even the Adam Gase era. They were so wide open on as far as where they are and what the team is going to do in the offseason. Joe Douglas is not going to go out there before the season is over and throw anybody under the bus. He's just not. He's not going to do it. And right now, he's probably going to lose his job. And, you still don't hear Joe Douglas saying or doing or speaking about, Daniel Jones is not all to blame. And I still think I'm going to have my job when I come by the end of the season. And Brian Dable should be back as well by the end of the season. The fact is right now, this team has been absolutely terrible. This has been a terrible organization, terribly run. And by the way, John Mara, shame on you for letting go of Tom Coughlin. Tom Coughlin was everything to this organization. He was the face of this organization. You ask guys like Michael Strahan, who's gone right now, has become one of the great broadcasters for Fox and all those other opportunities that he's had since stepping away from football and making millions and millions of dollars doing it. Millions of dollars. Look at Justin Tuck. I've interviewed Justin Tuck 3 times, 3 in person on a show. I've spoken to Justin Tuck off air, and Justin Tuck told me that the biggest mistake the Giants made was letting Tom Coughlin go. And I know you, Jabba, you're a good friend of Eli Manning. I'm sure you've had this conversation with Eli plenty of times. Right now, this New York Giant team is lost. They're lost. They have no idea where the door is going to open for them next. The fact is, what they're doing is privately throwing Daniel Jones under the bus. And Giant fans love it. You know why? They can't stand Daniel Jones. Why? Because he's a Gettleman guy. And Joe Schoen is going to point fingers and say, well, he's not my guy. I draft him. That's the facts. That's what coaches do. That's what GMs do. Yeah, have you heard Brian Dable say anything besides sneaky wise in his press conference saying, well, it's not one man. Brian Dable, and you can say whatever you want. Even when Robert, a.k.a. Bambi Saleh, was fired, if you remember, you never, after Bambi got fired, besides there were speculations that him and Aaron Rodgers were not getting along, did you ever hear from the press that that Bambi was telling the press that Aaron Rodgers is the cause of why this team is not getting along in the locker room, or this team is not figuring out the offensive side of the game? I mean, obviously, that it is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a big reason why this offense hasn't figured it out, but you didn't hear Bambi saying it. So it says a lot about this organization. It says a lot about where the Giants are heading. The Giants are a clown organization. They're a clown organization. They're still trying to figure out who's the next coach, where the next coach is coming from. I thought Brian Dable was going to be the quarterback whisperer. He was going to fix Daniel Jones. As soon as Daniel Jones had a good year with Saquon Barkley 100% healthy, they decided to part ways a year later with Saquon Barkley and pay Daniel Jones. If you're going to pay one, you pay the other. And that was the problem with the New York Giants. The reason why the Giants, and by the way, for all the Giant fans on social media, YouTube, when we posted up the whole Saquon Barkley thing and saying that I don't know what I'm talking about, and you're going to tell me, look at what Tracy's doing. Yeah, Tracy's doing. You're going to tell me Tracy is Saquon Barkley? Tracy is going to draw the defenses the way Saquon Barkley is drawing the defenses right now for the Eagles? Come on, guys. Open your goddamn eyes. Are you that stupid? You're going to tell me Tracy, who was a 5th or 6th round draft pick, is Saquon Barkley? It's a huge difference when you have Saquon Barkley in the roster and Tracy. I mean, I'm not saying Tyrone Tracy is not a good player. He's a good player. He's good. He's not Saquon Barkley. Was Tracy drafted in the 1st round? Was he a top 5 pick? It's ridiculous. Shame on Joe Schoen to trying to consider Singletary when you decided to go after, what do they call him? The tank or whatever the freak they call him. He is not. motor, whatever, motorhead, motor balls. He's dragging his balls because he can't stay healthy. All right. I am tired of hearing every single Giant fan tell me, I didn't know what I'm talking about. Are you a Giant fan? You stupid Jet fan. Here's what I'm going to tell you, Giant fans. Just like the Jets organization, the only thing you got is 4 Super Bowls and 4 of them in a 30-year span. The Jets have not won a Super Bowl in 50 some odd years. So I guess that's a good position that you're in. The one thing I could say, this is the one thing I could say and I could preach. The Jets are in the AFC East. They've been in the AFC East for a very long time. They had to compete with Tom Brady. Who did the Giants have to compete with in all those years in the NFC East? What quarterback? Give me one that's actually good. Give me one.
Your boy Donovan McNabb.
Donovan McNabb. Stop bringing up Donovan McNabb because I'm not bringing up that time. In the last 20 years, give me a quarterback that really stands out to you. Really, give me one.
No, that's the best one, I'm saying.
Well, let's not talk about Donovan McNabb. The last 20 years, besides Donovan McNabb, Michael Vick. You want to say Michael Vick?
Okay.
All right, Michael Vick. The Giants have a division, and they're in a conference that honestly is up and down. It's been up and down for the last 20 years. And they've had how many GMs? They, for years, stuck with one coach for like 10 or 12 years. Bill Parcells was there for 10 years before he decided to part ways with them. And before Tom Coughlin, it was really a span of 10 to 11 years where they continue to keep a coach. Now, over the last, 15 years, they've had 7 coaches in 15 years? That's embarrassing. Embarrassing. That has something to do with John Mara, Steve Tisch. Everybody's saying that them and the Pittsburgh Steelers for years as owners, the Rooneys and the Maras have been the face of the NFL. Really, the face of football. The only thing I could say this, I'll say this and I'll be very, very nice to Giant fans right now. I believe that one way or another, the Giants are going to get Archie Manning. I believe that. You know why? And I'm going to tell you why. Because I have seen it once, and I believe it. You will see it again. The Giants are not going to be a good team next year. You can quote that. You can sell that. You can put it and wrap it up like a little bow. The Giants are not going to be good next year. And if they're anywhere in the top 5 next year, and Archie Manning obviously declares into the NFL, Archie will be a New York Giant. You can book it. I'm going to tell you this right now. Bet on it. I don't know how much. I don't know what the bet is right now. Bet on it. 1,500 to 1, whatever it is. Bet on it. He will be a New York Giant next year if he goes into the draft.
Yeah, that should be the process that the Giants have to do. And again, maybe they're behind the curve a lot of the time because they like to overreact to certain things. And again, when Shane and Dable first got there, it seemed like the process was good. Obviously, Neil has not worked out. I know he played well last week, but again, that's maybe his 5th good game of his career entirely. And that's might even be generous at this point. And Thibodeau's been very injury prone and inconsistent in run defense. Now, you look at some of the picks this year, they have hit, fine. But at the same time, you're not hitting on key positions. And I think that's where the Giants have not been able to build in this modern era. Wide receiver, which has been a strength for them when I first watched the Giants, like they always had good receiving core. I'm not saying they had, besides Odell Beckham, I'm not saying they had like any type of top 5 wide receivers, but they always had good top 15, top 25 type wide receivers to build a good core. Now they can't find one. Offensive line has been putrid for decades now. Bad contract after bad contract. Justin Pugh, Eric Flowers, 1st-round picks that didn't work out, and it's just not ideal. You can create defenses with good coaching in today's NFL. You need pass rush, you need corners, obviously, to build the defense, but sometimes you've seen these talented defenses not be as good because they're not as well coached. And you've seen teams that like have makeshift defenses, just they have a good coordinator, be able to do it as long as you have a good offensive scheme and or quarterback. And the Giants are behind the curve on both of this. So I don't know where Joe Shane thinks they're going in the right direction, because just because the rookies have played well this year does not mean you have a formidable football team. Yeah, okay, they could have won some of those 1-possession games, but a lot of that has to do with the way you're building your offense.
Yeah, I think there's so many missing pieces, and you guys have touched on them all, so that I don't need to beat a dead horse over here. But yeah, it's just, I don't think there's any aspect of not far off that I just don't see where he can even say that, and it's in the right direction. And Errol, to your point, it's like, asking a Giants fan, it's like, yeah, you're 2-8. Who cares who starts at this point? Go get somebody. and get the best one you can. I mean, I don't think you're going to have to try and throw games. I don't think you're good enough to win games. So I don't think there's any throwing of the game to get a better pick that has to go on. And it's just one of those where they need a lot of pieces of the puzzle. And I don't know if they're on the floor, in the drawer, the dog chewed on them. I don't know where they're at, but they're going to have to, I think, just go buy some new ones and see what happens.
You know, I just want to, before we get back into it, I want to give a shout out. Jen was reaching out to me. I actually a DJing company. I've been back and forth, and I know everybody's been seeing me type and text back and forth. I did a party. I did a Spanish wedding on Friday last week. I killed it. Absolutely killed it. Did everything that they wanted. And they had the audacity, ladies and gentlemen, to tell Jen that me, the photographer and the videographer, were eating and relaxing for an hour and ruining the pace of the event. Are you kidding me? Meanwhile, at the end of the party, they didn't want a garter, they didn't want a bouquet. I did all that. I transitioned and did everything. They didn't even have music picked. I did it myself. And they have the balls, the audacity to tell them that they want money back. Here's what I'm going to say. If they're listening, which they probably aren't, kiss my big white ass. That's what I could say. There it is. I'll spread the cheeks. You do the licking, because it's not ever going to happen. You got what you wanted. You bride and groom. You can't even tip, by the way. They didn't even tip. You kidding me? You kidding me? I did a 6-hour party. Spanish music. I am a DJ, baby. I am a Spanish DJ. I can spin reggaeton. I can spin reggae. I can spin merengue, bachata, all that crap. And I did what you wanted. And you'll have the balls to complain that we ruined the pace of your wedding. You want money back? Here, kiss my white ass. I'm sorry. There you go.
Well, speaking of audacity, Joe Schoen has some audacity to say that the Giants are not far off and are heading in the right direction. How can you say that with a straight face when you're 2-8? Oh, we're really good. We're just a quarterback away. You paid a guy $40 million a year for 4 years, and you're still a quarterback away. Maybe the rule of thumb is don't pay someone a lot of money, but not the most money. You're just paying for okay and paying him at like he's really good. If you're going to spend on a great guy, or don't spend at all. We would have been better off with Joe Flacco this year. Let's face it. Would we have won more the same amount of games? Maybe, but we wouldn't be paying him $40 million. I'll tell you right now, it's really embarrassing to come out and say something like that. They're officially throwing him under the bus. He won't play another snap for the Giants. They can't. There's a $23 million injury guarantee in Jones's contract, which Shane signed, which he said, by the way, is his only regret, putting that clause in the contract. So now they can't even play him, even though they can't legally say that, because the NFLPA will come down on them for not playing him because of a contractual agreement. So he has to say it's for football reasons. Well, I don't think that there are football reasons to play Drew Lock over anybody in the NFL. And Tommy DeVito might actually be better than Drew Lock. So that's who we're going to deal with. A couple of bums for the rest of the season. It's going nowhere. We'll have a top 5 pick again. I'm sure we'll win 2 of the last 3 games. So it's pick number 5, not pick number 2 again. So we don't get the quarterback again. But I'll take Arch Manning, Errol. I'll take him every day of the week and twice on Sunday. I know about that pedigree.
I'm telling you, that's where he's going. Book it. Giant fans, book it. I can hear it. I'm hearing it. I'll do the Hulk Hogan. You ready? Here, Owen, Mr. Tick. Watch this. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm going to be hearing when Roger Goodell goes out there and says the Giants are on the clock. Oh, wait a second. Archie Sr. is coming out there and saying, kiss his ass. Archie, Archie the second, or whatever the hell he is. He's the grandfather, the grandson of Archie Manning. He just like Eli, he's going to be heading to the New York Giants. You're going to hear his name, and the Giants are going to get the man of the draft, and that's where he's going to go. That's just my opinion.
Before I pass it over to Owen, I do want to say the only thing that's good that's going to come out of this Giants season is the chicken cutlet parm with vodka sauce that's going to be in every Bergen County deli for when Tommy DeVito's out there. You're going to have some specials, some delicious chicken. That's the only thing I'm looking forward to right now is the DeVito special where he rolls to the right and gets sacked or throws it out of bounds or scrambles.
You should
for the
ask
rest of the
DeVito what
season
kind of
and
buns
chicken
he
cutlets.
likes. Speedy, what do you think his favorite buns are? What do you think? What is it? Is it Italian bun?
I don't know. Ask the deeper core Italians.
Some garlic bread.
There you go.
Before this gets further out of hand.
Yeah, my thoughts. Giants in the right direction is kind of a joke. Their division's getting better. Obviously, the Washington Commanders are on the right direction. Eagles aren't going anywhere for a while. They're gonna have to blow the whole thing up. I'm taking bets on Shedeur going there. He can shine his big watch, tell time in New York City, and hopefully they laugh at that because I think he's a bum too. So I think that's my bets on that. I'll take your bet.
No way.
Please don't scare me.
No
Shadeur's
way.
going there. He wants to go to New York. He's already said he won't go to certain teams. He wants to shine bright in the brightest city.
Unfortunately.
Book it here now.
If he goes to the Giants, which he's not, and I'll predict that, there's no way Shedeur Sanders is going to the Giants. No way. You want to bet? Oh, let's make a bet.
Yeah.
Let's make a fair bet. What do you want to bet? I'll tell you what.
Come up with the bet.
I already have the bet. Here's what we're going to do. If Shedeur doesn't go to the Giants, okay, you have to wear a dress, a wig on this show, okay? And you got to put lipstick on, and you got to sit there. And by the way, even when you're not speaking on the show, you have to wear it on screen for the whole show. What do you think?
What are you going to do if he does?
I'll do the same.
Hold on, but we got to make it like Giants have to have a top 3 draft pick in order for that to happen.
Fine, whatever.
Okay,
top five. Because
if they start winning, because they got Dallas a couple times, don't they?
Yeah, no, they played Dallas once already.
Yeah.
Oh, so they got Dallas. That might be a win. So
all right, let's make
do
it.
it.
If the Giants are a top 5 pick, if they're a top 5 pick, all right, that's fair. Top 5, because Shedeur might not even be in the top 3. Let's say top 5. If they're on the top 5, the bet is on. Now, if I win and he doesn't go to the Giants, you have to wear a wig of my choosing, a dress of my choosing, and you got to powder puff your face as you got to be on screen for the whole show and pucker up, my friend, as I would say. And if I lose, and if the Giants are top 5, I would dress. You can pick out the dress. You can pick. I'll wear a damn bra under my pants.
I'll let Jabba pick it out.
I'll dress like a woman. I'll
fun.
do whatever the hell you want, and I will look like a complete ass on this radio show.
I feel like this is some weird fetish of yours, but I'll take the bet.
No, it's a bet. It shows. Listen, you got to put up or shut up, buddy. Hey, listen, I'm going to put up. I'm willing to throw myself out to the dogs, right, Jabba? Jabba wouldn't do this. He doesn't have it. Jabba, would you do that?
I think you kind of pushed the envelope. I already said I would dye my beard white.
Yeah, well, I mean, aren't we making that bet? Didn't we make that bet already?
No, we haven't. We haven't figured out what the bet is.
All right,
be.
so I already have a bet with good old Owen, the tick himself. So that's our bet. If the Giants are a top 5 pick, you got Shedeur Sanders going to now. I do not. So there you go.
So you said, but what if he pulls an Eli vice versa and it's like, I don't want to go there. Is now the bet null and void?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's gonna. Yeah, it's no.
I don't think he'll be number 1 though. You know,
no, he's not.
Like I don't think he'll have that choice.
He's a top 5 pick, and I came out before the season started, and he's not a top 5 pick. He's not even a first round pick. But being that this quarterback class is just absolutely horrible, he will go in the top 10 because his father is Dion, and Dion has everybody or every single coach's ear because he kisses everybody's ass. And I wouldn't even be surprised if the Cowboys are in the top 5, where Dion will step in and say, you know what, let's trade Dak. And we'll draft Shedeur, and I'll come over again and coach you guys. That's what I wouldn't be surprised if that
was
happened.
A bet.
You hear my voice. I tried to be like Dion. I'm trying to drag my word.
You can't be like Dion. You have all your toes.
That's true. I don't know. Did you ever see my toes? I mean, I have very weird toes. Okay, just let everybody know. I have like a big, I have the big toe, and then my middle toes are like the same size. It's like very weird. My mom used to tell me that I was like what Aquaman or something like that. I have like Aquaman toes or some crazy. No, yeah, I don't know. I don't think listen. I'm a pretty good swimmer, but I'm not much of a like one of those Olympic swimmers. But Speedy, didn't we race in the pool before? Was it you?
I don't think so.
You're not much of a swimmer. Anyway.
No, I can swim. I just don't remember racing you directly.
Yeah, well, whatever. I do remember that.
Stevie, what's your favorite swimming stroke?
Breaststroke, definitely.
You sure?
Yeah.
How about the ball stroke? Have you ever tried that?
That's not a stroke.
There is a stroke. You have to stroke it. You got to.
I wasn't pulling anything. All right. Go look up who won the Olympic ball stroke this year.
400 meter.
I don't have that kind of stamina.
Well, if it's 400 meters, I think I'd be in pretty good shape.
I'd have a full lather. He's sweating.
I'd fill a whole bottle up.
Oh, I'd run out of lotion and tissues.
Speedy, can you do the butterfly stroke?
Yes.
Yeah. If you probably his butterfly stroke is like looking and waving at butterflies.
It's not even close to how you do it, but okay.
Like a young Michael Phelps in his prime, I can imagine.
Yeah.
You're not going to get very far if you try to swim like the way he was doing it.
Oh yeah? How do you do a breaststroke? Show me. Show me. What the hell is that?
It's circles.
Big circles. It's a big circle. It's a big circle. You got to poke. You got to poke. You got to poke the circle.
No.
Have you ever poked a circle?
What?
Have you ever found the hole?
What are you even talking about? Find a hole in water. Good luck.
Well, you gotta have some kind of juice, right?
Juice is not water. You want to go swim in juice?
Yes.
Okay, you do that. You do that.
My mouth will be wide open.
Okay, go ahead.
Juice. I'm gonna have to shave.
Congratulations.
All right, Scoops, give us your point of view of the New York Giants and that absolute stupidity.
Yeah, I don't know what Shane is drinking, smoking, shooting, all of the above probably. But I do have to say, this is the first season, probably ever watching the Giants, that I can truly say I was expecting them to lose every game and surprised if they won. Only because not far off. Come on. Like, what are we really talking about? One thing I don't like about Joe Schoen, I noticed too, is I don't like the way he flaunts his nuts. I don't like the way he hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything and filed for so many trades. The last trade deadline literally amounted to nothing. And the thing is that like I said, to say we're so far off too, you haven't done anything. Your team can go 2-15 to finish this season. And it's a very strong possibility they can go for 2-15. There's no way you can't be scared. There's no way you think that you still have job security after a 2-15 season. And like I said, yeah, there's reports that Mara said that him and Dable are going to stay after next season. But if they do so poorly, there's no way you don't look at them and say that they could still be an asset to this team. There's no way they're not in question for the coming weeks. And I wanted to bring this up too. If you look at what he's done since 2022, nothing's amounted to now. I mean, look at someone like John Lynch in such a small span. He took over the team in about like 2017. The team had horrible receiving weapons, not that many good receiving weapons. He gets in people like Debo. He drafts people like George Kittle who amount to these great weapons still till this day on the team. Defensively, he goes out and grabs Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, all these other guys that are now, like I said, assets to this team. You haven't done anything, my man. So to say not far off, that doesn't make any sense.
I'll give him something that I think he needs to really seal it up and hide it, shine it, whatever the hell he's going to do after the season. There is no way when you look at this offensive line that they're not far off. This offensive line, yes, they overpaid Thomas, and I'm going to tell you why they overpaid. He's one of the best tackles in the league. The guy hasn't been healthy in 3 years. If you're going to pay a guy over $25, $26 million a year when he only plays, 2 games in a season every other year? That is a problem. And besides him, what stands out on that offensive line besides him? They drafted a center, what was it, a year ago in his second round, who everybody was saying this was the best center in the draft. Yeah, well, what has he done? I mean, seriously, I don't want to hear about his PFF or his PFL or whatever the hell they grade him. The fact is, and pop his thing off because it's giving an echo. Pop his thing off, Speedy. You should know about sound. How many times do I have to tell you? The honest to God truth right now where the New York Giants have to go is they have to realize that they have to rebuild. They are far off, and they paid a guy from another team and another organization when they decided to let one of their own go to a divisional team that they absolutely hate. Right now, where the Giants are at, they're just tearing down. Look at where Washington is. It takes a personality, it takes a coach that understands how to develop players. And when you don't have one, you are lost. And I thought Brian Daboll was the answer. Brian Daboll is not the answer. He's not. The quarterback whisper, Josh Allen, okay? Look at his numbers right now. And maybe they're not as good as when Brian Daboll was there with the Buffalo Bills. What did they win with Brian Daboll? They didn't win no Super Bowl. Did they play in a Super Bowl? They never did when Brian Daboll was there. Now you have Brian Daboll, who, by the way, won Coach of the Year his rookie season, where he was at UFC fights. He was all over the place, speaking so highly of what the Giants are going to be in the next few years. He went from the best coach or the Coach of the Year to one of the worst coaches in the NFL in what? 18 weeks? It's the biggest downfall I've ever seen a Giants coach have as quick as he has. So, and we all know what Ben McAdoo was going to be. I mean, come on, Ben McAdoo. And going back to the Giants, Ben McAdoo in his rookie season had a better record than Joe Shea. I mean, so Brian Daboll did in his coaching debut, his Coach of the Year. He did. He had a better record. I think Ben McAdoo
he had a much better team, though. They spent all the money on the defense.
Really?
They got Jack Rabbit that year. They went out and got all these
Jack
guys. He was for 2 years.
Yeah, he also
was.
had a dead body in his basement for how many months before somebody realized that there was a dead body in his basement. Remember that? Remember the old Jack Rabbit? Okay, come on, man. And he knew nothing about it. How do you not smell a dead body in your basement? Come on. What are we?
Well, I just need a corner with some attitude like that again. We have no corners, and we suck on defense, except for in the slot. Look, Shane's draft was good this year. I think it's the only reason why they aren't just canning his ass, because he hit on most of his draft picks. It looks like, with Tracy being a 5th-round pick, Drew Phillips is having probably the best year of a slot corner that came out in the draft. He puts up great numbers, had a really, really good game last week. It looks like, look, you could say what you want about the guys in the previous years, especially Evan Neal. Neighbors obviously is a good player. It looks like we hit with most of our picks. They just don't have a quarterback.
I got news for you.
Daboll,
I am a Jet fan. Look at all these great picks that our boy Joe Douglas had over the last couple of years. I don't know, Breece Hall, pretty damn good. I mean, look at McDonald. He's having an unbelievable year. He's another guy. Let's go. Sauce Gardner, fantastic. Let's go. Oh, I am sorry. Michael Carter, another one. Fantastic. One of the best slot defenders in all of football. I just gave you a few. Quincy Williams was picked up from the Jaguars, and he became one of the best linebackers in the league. But guess what? This team can't win. No matter what. It doesn't matter how good your draft is, how good your free agency is. What is the NFL all about? What is professional sports all about? Jabba, please give it to us. You're muted, Jabba. You're lost over there. I mean, you're probably waiting for a beer, but there you go.
I was actually looking something up.
I'm just kidding.
No, when it comes down to it, it's about winning and putting people in the best situation. Does that mean spending money sometimes? Does that mean making tough decisions? Yeah. And you don't have to invite them all to your birthday party or do all that, but, put the best product you can on the field and sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. And I mean, it's not played on paper. Obviously, all the money in the world doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win. But I mean, we play it because winning is what it's about. I'm not here for ice cream with sprinkles. I'm here to get after it, take names, kick ass, have fun, enjoy it, and win. I don't like doing all that and losing. Like, it's not fun to go on the field and be like, we might have a chance this week. Like, no, that sucks. I can't imagine that. I was fortunate enough never to have to be in that situation. But I don't see how, like, one can say we're not that far off, but everybody else, I can promise you, isn't saying that. And this is supposed to be one of your leaders. Like, I don't get it.
Any time a GM comes out and says we're not too far off, you're very far off.
You're on the opposite side.
Anytime you hear a GM say that, it's bye-bye, birdie. So long. Never hope you ever GM on another organization or team again. Joe Schoen is horrible. He's terrible. I think we all know after watching Hard Knocks where he is and where his head is at. It is embarrassing. The organization is embarrassing. And John Mara, stop going out there and saying that these guys are safe. Kick them the hell out. Start over. That's what the Jets are going to do. It's bye-bye, birdie. No more Bambi. No more Olbrick. No more Joe Douglas. And no offense to Joe. Joe, stop it. Stop going out there and speaking, that it's not Aaron Rodgers' fault. And I'm gonna be honest here. I'm just gonna be straight up honest for all you Jet fans. If it is not Aaron Rodgers' fault, or you don't believe it's Aaron Rodgers' fault, then you guys are effing blind. You obviously don't see what's going on in that locker room. He has divided that team. Nobody in the right mind believes that Aaron Rodgers has it anymore. And that's it. I don't know what. If he's there on that team next year, shame on the Jets. I think they need to start over. I think you get rid of the garbage right now and rebuild. And you got some pieces. The Giants got pieces. But, I mean, you can have all the pieces in the world. Ask the Jets 50 years of pieces, and you can build the Legos, and then you can knock it down. I mean, you could build the dominoes. You can build a domino, that trail, and all you got to do is hit it down, and they all go down. That's the Jets. You can build and completely take it down.
Or according to Jeff Ulbrich, that is the way the Jets have tackled this week. According to his quote, the Jets will return to fundamentals of tackling this week, which I know, Fish, you're going to get big kick out of.
Speaking of tackling.
Oh, my God.
Speaking of tackling, Shane Steichen announced today that the Colts will switch back to Anthony Richardson as their starting quarterback this week against the Jets. I wonder why. He added that he expects Richardson to be the starting quarterback for the rest of the season. He mentioned that everybody who believed Colts players were ever losing faith of Richardson were wrong. He said that Richardson was very mature during the 2 games he was benched and is a great human being and good leader. In 4 games, Flacco had 1,167 passing yards, 9 touchdowns, 9 turnovers. The Colts are 4-6 and 1 game back of the Broncos for the final AFC playoff spot. First of all, we all know why he's playing this week. That's because the Jets defense, as far as on third downs, are the worst in football. And by the way, the Jets are the worst team when it comes to stopping the friggin' run. And guess who their running back is? His last name's Taylor, who, by the way, is 100% healthy going into this week. They are going to absolutely crush the New York Jets this week. And why not bring Richardson back? Because guess what? Go look at the Jets against running quarterbacks this season. They're putrid. And what is Anthony Richardson's strength right now? It is running the ball. He doesn't even have to throw the ball. So guess what? If you're a betting man, I bet Anthony Richardson will have over 60 yards running. I bet you Taylor will have over 100 yards. This is good, guys, if you want to be a betting man. And the Jets are going to give up over 150 yards of rushing. Book it, seal it, and probably about 25 or more points. The New York Jets are an absolute disgrace. And Aaron Rodgers, there's no excuse. But again, Anthony Richardson, obviously is the best, gives them the best chance to win. I do believe that they're going to sneak into the playoffs. This is an AFC that's back and forth. There's really no bright, great teams besides the Baltimore Ravens, the Kansas City Chiefs, and maybe the Buffalo Bills. That's it. I don't trust Pittsburgh because I don't trust Russell Wilson. I don't trust the Bengals because they're up and down every single week. I don't trust a lot of these AFC teams. Maybe the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert. I don't know. There's no guarantees. There's only 3 guarantees in the AFC. It's a very weak conference. And we would have thought that the AFC was going to be absolutely loaded this year. Miami is not the team that we thought they were going to be because Tua wasn't 100% healthy. We can go up and down the Browns and where we thought the Browns were going to be with or without Watson, with the talent that they had. They were a borderline playoff team. They stink. Okay, so again, I can go up and down the AFC conference. There's nothing really to preach about or say anything about. Joe Flacco's an old man. He's a fill-in player. He is, I believe, one of the more respected quarterbacks in the NFL, and that's why he still has a job. And that's why he is a good backup in the NFL. But again, Anthony Richardson, you're gonna die with the quarterback with him. If Anthony Richards doesn't show up for the rest of the season, I don't care what anybody believes an Indianapolis Colts organization is going to say. They're going to be looking for a quarterback. They're going to be looking for a guy in this year's draft in the later rounds where you can pick up. And if Anthony Richardson starts the season or loses his job early in the preseason next year, he will be done. It's pretty sad where these quarterbacks are going. All these first-round draft pick quarterbacks we've seen over the last couple of years. There has been, I would say, in the last 5 years, 4 good quarterbacks to come out of the draft that became stars in the league? It's sad. It really is. It's been a really, really long process to see and trying to predict who's going to be a good NFL quarterback and who's not. Caleb Williams, we still don't know. We don't know what Caleb Williams is going to be. We don't know where the quarterback class is going to be from this year's class. Again, we all know what Jayden Daniels looks like, but CJ Stroud looked really, really good. He was record-breaking his first year, and he's been up and down this year. But I still think CJ Stroud is going to figure things out because he's got a tremendous amount of talent. It's really, really bad. And Anthony Richardson, you got to ride and die with the guy that you drafted.
Mm-hmm. And you also look at the case of, you look at these younger quarterbacks that have running traits or athleticism that they can make the other things work with good coaching. And we've seen that develop when Lamar Jackson came into the NFL. Like, he didn't play the first half of the season. Then he comes into the second half when he develops as a passer, and he had a great rookie second half of the rookie year. And next year he wins MVP. And like you were saying yesterday, Fish, he's on pace right now to win his 3rd MVP at the rate he's going. And you're seeing that kind of thing with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was very raw out of the draft, and he got his chance his 2nd year with the Eagles, and now he's turning around. I'm not saying he's been an amazing quarterback every year, but he's been mostly a good quarterback, borderline top 10 quarterback. And Jayden Daniels, a lot of people had questions with it. He's doing great with really nothing there in Washington. Richardson has not been that way. And those reports you were saying that his teammates never believed in him, I think that was more of a PR move a couple of weeks ago with Jim Irsay more than anything.
Are you reading what Keith is saying? He says, "Oh, hold on, the Colts are weak." Really? They have 2 Pro Bowl players on that offensive line. You're going to tell me they're weak? Michael Pittman is not a bad wide receiver. I don't know. They have one of the best running backs in all of football. What are you talking about, Keith? Come on, Keith. I don't want to go back and forth and argue this. Their defense, obviously they need to be fixed up. That offense is pretty damn good. Anthony Richardson, who was putting up big numbers before he hurt his shoulder last year, everybody was saying he was the next up-and-coming Lamar Jackson. Now, all of a sudden, he lost his job, and we're going to sit here and argue this? I mean, come on. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's the comparison that they're always going to have for somebody like that with Anthony Richardson, who has that level of speed.
Yeah, Pittman's out now, but for the first 5 or 6 weeks, he was on the roster.
Yeah, Pittman's been he was great last year. He was iffy the year before, but Pittman, when he has been healthy, has been one of the more versatile, good possession receivers. And again, he's not overly like a deep threat type guy. He's not like a top 10 wide receiver, but he's still a good wide receiver.
Anthony Richardson is overrated. I mean, it's pretty simple. His shoulder's not the same, and we have seen this before with quarterbacks. Anthony Richardson is young, and he's going to be another quarterback to be drafted as high as he was from Florida that was overrated, and he's going to be a backup. I don't know. There was a quarterback from North Carolina who, teams were reaching on. His name was Mitch the Bitch. And where is he right
Carl's
now?
boy, Mitch Trubisky. Yes. And again, that's the thing when you look at somebody like Richardson, sometimes the kind of hindrance is how much will he be able to bounce back from that? And I always had 2 of them. Well, it's actually 3 of them because he actually had multiple injuries last year too, even before he had the shoulder injury. So that'll be a big mental test. Like I was saying, I don't think the teammate thing was as bad as it seemed to be. I think 2 weeks ago when we were talking about Richardson initially being benched, I think that was more of, Jim Irsay wants this kind of thing to work, so the ownership's going to make it work. But Joe Flacco hasn't created much of a passing volume either. So at least you're still going to get the rushing aspect. And it'll be up to Richardson to improve the passing traits. Maybe it's not as much on the arm strength with the shoulder injuries as much as the decision making at this point, but still, it at least provides a little more upside for this with Richardson. I agree with you. It's a tough matchup for the Jets, who have always struggled with running quarterbacks. Even when Robert Saleh was in San Francisco, he had trouble with running quarterbacks, and I think that'll be something that's good to get his confidence back. Dead Fish.
Go ahead, Fish.
Yeah, Jabba. That's your take. What do you got?
I was gonna go off Fish's because he's a little bit smarter in this situation.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yep.
So I want to bring up a third great player on that offense, Errol, and his name's Quentin Nelson. That's the guy that I actually wanted the Giants to take instead of Saquon Barkley that draft. I thought they could trade back and still get Quentin Nelson and let people take quarterbacks. I think I was right, and we would have avoided this whole situation completely. And maybe drafted Nick Chubb, traded back up into the first round and got in Chubb and Nelson, which is the way in my brain it was going to work. Instead, now we have absolutely nothing. Look, Flacco is better than Richardson right now, but Richardson's who they put the draft capital on. They're like 3+. I think they're 3 games out behind the Texans, who have been falling apart. So it's not like the division's completely out of reach, but it's basically out of reach. And it's unlikely that they'll make the playoffs unless something magical happens. So might as well see what you can get out of Richardson. You're not going to get much more out of Flacco. You know what he is at this point. He's not going to win any hard games, but he'll be able to take you through the easy ones. So what does that do? Get you a worse draft pick and you still suck. So they don't want to play him, and they got to go with Richardson. I'm sure this comes from on high because I'm sure Steichen doesn't want to deal with somebody who's going to go. I believe 2 weeks ago he went 1 for 14 passing in the first half, something like that. Just really atrocious numbers. He was like 44% for the game. He's not there right now. So look, everyone thinks he's a running quarterback with a cannon arm. They got to build some kind of special offense for him. It's just not ready right now. Look, he also could have been still trying to come back from that shoulder. Like
he will be out of the NFL in 2 years. I am guaranteed. And by the way, Keith, you're going out there. Oh, so you're saying Richardson's not good and the Colts are a good team? No, I didn't say that. Maybe let's get the wax out of your ears here. I am telling you that the AFC is weak. And even with Anthony Richardson and their running game, they could still make the playoffs with garbage quarterback play. You got it, Keith? I think I sunk that a little bit too deep into your brain. Maybe I need to hammer it like a nail in there. Sorry.
Yeah, no, Fish, I think you're right, too. Just looking at his numbers, he's at, 44% this year and obviously 7 interceptions to 4 touchdowns. But I think you're going to have to ride with him. That's where you put it. I don't think there's anything that he will do or not do where they don't just ride him the rest of the way unless he gets hurt again. I think that's the only way you don't do it. And I think that was more of a PR move when he said, as far as everybody didn't lose confidence in him, blah, blah, blah. It's just, I think that was more of a CYA thing than it was anything else. And, to have him come back. And like you said, he may have been still dealing with his shoulder and whatever, but it'll be interesting to see how it holds up. But I think you're obviously going to have to ride with him because, Flacco at the same time, you know exactly what you're going to get. And Richardson may figure it out and see what happens. But I don't see. I think he's going to be in the league longer than a couple years. I wouldn't say it's going to be lengthy.
Okay. Here, I'm sorry. I'll clean that up. He is going to be a backup quarterback in 2 years.
Okay.
So that's where I think he's not a starting quarterback. I think he's proven that. I think his shoulder is not what it was last year. You can see the difference in his his variety of throws. He can throw it down the field. It's not accurate. And I do, even though he's become one-dimensional. Every time you see him on the field, teams know he's one-dimensional. So what are they doing? They're making him use his legs. And when you become one-dimensional in the NFL, it doesn't work. And that's it. Lamar Jackson has proven that he is not one-dimensional. He can throw the ball. He can actually put enough spin on the ball, and he's accurate now, and he can run, and he's unstoppable using his legs. That's what they think Anthony Richardson is. There has never been a player besides Michael Vick, and Michael Vick was not even as elusive as Lamar Jackson, but Michael Vick was the last player you can compare to Lamar Jackson. Anthony Richardson is not Lamar Jackson. He's not even close.
No way. Look, go ahead, Owen.
Yeah, I don't know about Anthony Richardson. I think he's a turnover machine. I think this week he's going to have a boatload of turnovers. Coming back, his teammates aren't probably going to play as hard, being as he did tap out. I also think this is vintage. Aaron Rodgers has like 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, and says, hey, we're still in this. Just getting the news headlines. This is a vintage Aaron Rodgers, heavy, high passing accuracy game, and has a lot of touchdowns.
I got scoops.
I mean, yeah, they're gonna definitely move. Like you were saying, Speedy, at the beginning, they're definitely gonna use his mobility for sure. I mean, look at how well it worked for the Cardinals last week. 2 rushing touchdowns for Kyler Murray. And yeah, the Jets are just horrible at third down in general. And I think the Colts are also one of these second half teams that, they kind of get it figured out later on in the season. They're 4-6 right now. I get that, but they usually do sort of turn it on. They go on a bit of a winning streak and end up sneaking into the playoffs somehow. Look at like the Texans and the 49ers. Usually those, I would say, like second half teams that they kind of turn it on in November, December to like actually get it in the playoffs. And I will say too, they're one of the that is one of the more times that it actually does matter to actually get a real hot time, to get a team real hot into going into the playoffs. I mean, the Bills are one of the teams that have consistently done it. Even look at the Packers last year, look at the teams like that. But my thing is that, like I said, the Colts are still 4-6, and Owen was just mentioning it too, but Anthony Richardson is a turnover machine. So we are going to see how that goes.
And by the way, I do want to go back at Keith because he likes to go back and forth and insulting him. If you think it's insulting, I'm going to explain something to you because you just have some kind of reasoning behind what I say in the past. Yeah, I thought Anthony Richardson, when he was drafted, was going to be good. I saw him last year before he got hurt. Ever since his shoulder injury, Keith, I don't know if you were listening to me. Maybe I'll clean your ears for you again. Going back to it. After Anthony Richardson lost his job to Joe Flacco, I said that, and anybody can vouch for me, I said Anthony Richardson was not going to play anymore this year, and he lost his positioning. And I also said that Anthony Richardson was done. I don't know what you are listening to. Yeah, before his shoulder injury, I liked Anthony Richardson. He is not the same quarterback he was before his shoulder injury. I told you that. And Keith, we talked about this on the phone. On the phone, Keith. So stop with this crap. I'm shot. Kiss my ass, Keith. That's it. Kiss my friggin' ass. Here, you want me to pull my pants down? I'll show it on national radio. You can kiss this one, okay? And I'm shot. You're shot. Kiss it. That's all I'm going to say. What happened to our guy, man?
I don't know. I texted him 5 times. I didn't hear from him.
What happened to Nelson? Old Nelly Poo. I mean, he's always come on this show. We've had him on 3 times. I guess Nelson got caught up with some family stuff. I don't know.
I'll see if I find out tomorrow or tonight. I don't know.
It's all right. It's fine. We had a lot of good content, by the way. And I want to give a shout out to Nelson Figueroa. Hopefully everything is going okay with him. Because Nelson usually is on. He's so excited when he comes on. Maybe he was afraid of Jabba. I don't know. Maybe he was, afraid that Jabba was going to drop the hammer on old. What's going on, Speedy, over here?
Keith, call my phone. That phone is not working.
Jabba, you ready for this argument? You ready for the back and forth banter? I think it's going to be fun. Yeah, but whatever. Are we going to do our football picks? Where are our records at, Speedy?
So actually, Jabba was in the lead after this week. So the way I did it was, if you got both the over and the over under and the team, you got 2 points, and if you just got the team, you got 1. So Jabba has 14, Fish and I had 12, you had 11, Scoops had 10 at the end of that week. I don't know if you want to wait for Keith or just go into it.
Let's just go into our picks, and then we'll finish up with Keith.
All right.
I'll
So
have to wait.
We'll start with the Thursday night football game, the Washington Commanders against the Philadelphia Eagles. And the over-under for that one is 48.5. I will start. I'll go with the Eagles on the under. Their defense has played better. Keith, call back after we do our picks.
I'll go after Fish.
Go after Fish. Go ahead, Fish.
Give me the. You said it was Eagles Commanders this week. 48.5. Speedy, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me the Eagles in this game. I think the Eagles are on a hot streak. Jaden Daniels struggled as I expected with his accuracy. Only completed 50% of his passes against the Steelers. Usually, the week after something like that happens, teams copy the last week's team until they can figure out how to beat it. They're going to struggle. I like the Eagles this week and the over.
Eagles in the over for me as well.
Got Scoops.
Give me the Commanders actually on the under for this one.
I'm gonna go with Scoops and go Commanders under. Jaden Daniels is gonna go off a little bit, I think.
Oh, I like the Eagles defense in this game. They're at home. The crowd's going to be loud. I'm going to go Eagles over.
All right, we'll go to that Colts and Jets game. The over under 44.5. I like the Colts over.
I don't. I don't think Richardson's any good. I'm taking Jets under.
Jets under.
I think the Colts will win, but I think I'm going to go with the Colts in the under.
Jets over. Aaron Rodgers has a huge day.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Jets. I'll go. What's the number?
44.5.
I'll go Jets on the over.
All right, Vikings Titans 39.5. Give me Minnesota over.
Give me Minnesota over. I agree.
Where's it at?
It's at Tennessee.
That does really. Oh shoot! Yeah, I'll roll with you guys. Give me the over.
I don't think it's gonna be a high scoring game. This one, I'm gonna go with the Vikings on the under.
Vikings under.
What is the number?
39.5.
Vikings over.
All right. Ravens at the Steelers over under 48.5. Give me Pittsburgh under.
Yeah, Lamar's kryptonite is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Give me Pittsburgh, but I'm going to take the over in this game.
Ooh. I'll do Pittsburgh in the under.
Fish is right. The Lamar Jackson does have a poor 1-3 record against the Steelers, but I don't know. I think that changes. I'm going to go with the Ravens on the over.
Going Pittsburgh under.
What is the number?
48.5.
I have the Ravens winning this game. I'll just take a guess here. Ravens over.
All right. Browns at the Saints 44.5. I agree with Wes. I'm going to go Cleveland. I'm going to go on the under.
I love that coach they have, Rizzy. He looks like a character from like Popeye or something. He's just out of his mind. I think they're going to ride that energy for another win. Give me the Saints on the over.
I mean, I can't go against Worldwide West. I got Cleveland in the under.
The Browns suck. Give me the Saints on the over.
Famous Jameis and the Browns on the under.
I have the Browns on the under.
All right. Jags Lions over under 47.5. Give me Detroit. I'll go under.
I'm going to go over. It's going to be close, but it's only going to be close because it's going to be like 40-10. Give me Detroit.
Detroit over.
Yeah, give me the Lions on the over.
Lions over.
Lions over.
All right. Packers Bears 41.5. Give me the Packers over.
So this is going to be a really good game. I'm excited to watch this game if I can. Give me the Bears on the under in this game. Jordan Love has been a little suspect this year.
Take Packers in the under.
Packers on the under.
What's the number, Speed? It is 41.5.
Packers under.
Packers over. All right. Raiders and the Dolphins. The over-under is 44.5. Give me Miami, and I'll take the over.
Yeah, as long as Tua is healthy, I'm going Miami and over.
I mean, who knows if Tua's healthy?
Oh, he's playing.
Yeah, he's in there. I'm going to take Dolphins in the over.
Yeah, Dolphins on the over.
Going upset here. Raiders on the under.
Dolphins on the over. All right, Rams at the Patriots, 44.5. Give me the Rams on the under.
You're going to see a monster game out of Puka Nakua this week. Give me the
I know that's what
Rams.
you want.
Rams in the over.
Yeah, I got Rams in the over as well.
I'm going with the Rams on the over.
Rams over.
What is the number? It is 44.5.
God, are you paying attention?
No, I just I just want to know. I'm just kind of thinking about this. I'm gonna go Rams. I'll take it. I'll go Rams under. All right, Falcons at the Broncos. The over under 44.5. Give me the Broncos under.
We might see Michael Penix, guys. I'm very curious to see how this one goes. I kind of very curious how he plays. If he does, it looks like he might. But until proven, that's a really good defense. Give me Denver under.
Denver under.
I'm going to go with the Falcons on the under in this one.
I'm going to go Falcons under as well.
Falcons under. All right, Seahawks 49ers 49.5. The over under for the 49ers game. Give me the 49ers on the under.
I'm going to go over. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game. I do believe it is the 49ers with CMC.
49ers in the over.
Niners on the over.
Niners over.
Niners over. All right, the Chiefs at the Bills 46.5. The over under. I'm going with the under this one, and I'm taking the Bills to end the Chiefs' undefeated season.
It's a tough one. How do you go against Mahomes? They haven't lost. It's going to be one of those games that comes down to the last drive. You know it is. It's going to be exciting. They always seem to play these great games. Until proven otherwise, I'm taking the Chiefs, and I'm going with the over.
Yeah, Josh Allen is 3-1 against them in the regular season and hasn't beat him in the postseason. So, and they're at Buffalo. I'm going to pull an arrow. What was the number?
46.5.
I'm going to go Bills in the under.
I don't know. This is I want my heart's saying the Bills, but I don't know. I feel like Fish is right that it's going to be the Chiefs. I'm still going with the Bills. I'm going to go with the Bills on the over.
Bills under.
I'm going to go Bills under. All right, Sunday Night Football, the Bengals at the Chargers, 47.5. Give me Cincinnati. Give me the under.
I'm sorry. I'm going under, but I'm taking the Chargers. I know Burrow's looked amazing, but this is a guy who's not going to let Burrow hold the ball very long in Jim Harbaugh. It's going to be a ball control game, low scoring. Give me the Chargers.
Got to get my other Nebraska one in. Burrow's family's from here. They played at Nebraska. Give me the Bengals in the under.
I don't know. I'm agreeing with Fish on this one. Jim Harbaugh has been a pretty good coach as of late. I'm going to go with the Chargers.
He's a good coach in the NFL.
Yeah, that's all that matters right now. Now give me the Chargers on the over.
Bengals under.
I got the Bengals too on the under. And Monday Night Football, Battle of Texas, Texans and the Cowboys, 42.5. Give me Houston under.
This is going to be a suck fest. Both teams are not playing well at all. I still have to side with Houston, and I will also go with the under, Speedy.
Same thing.
Yeah, Texans on the under as well.
I think Nico Collins is coming back, so Houston on the over.
Wow, listen to the tick. He's ticking, baby. He's ticking. I have the Texans on the under. So there you go. We got our picks all lined up. Java's in the lead right now. Who's in the lead right now on the Weekend Crunch? Oh, you're still in the lead for the Weekend Crunch. You know what it is I like to take crazy picks, but this week I'm going to pull ahead. I have a feeling. I feel it, Speedy. I got my balls right in my hands, and I'm ready to dangle them. Right?
You like the dangle things,
I
right?
don't, but I do somebody that likes to go for the balls too. Keith is now back on
Oh,
the
how
phone.
wonderful. Let's hear it.
Hey, am I on?
Yep.
Harold, I wasn't. That's why I'm not going to comment anymore. It's easy to just call. All I'm saying is that Indy's not a good team at all. They're mediocre at best. And I mean, Chris, you agreed, right? They're not going to make the playoffs. You don't think?
I don't think it's going to happen mathematically.
Yeah, it doesn't think it mathematically. Yeah, they haven't been as good of a defensive team this year. Offensively, they still have a good line though. And
Yeah, but they're okay. I got Taylor. I love him on my fantasy, which I'm 9-1 in my league, by the way. But they I just don't see how you can say Richardson's not good and still think they're going to make the playoffs.
it's just a weak.
That's all.
It's just a weak loop right there. The Broncos are not good offensively. The Bengals are up and down and not very well.
Yeah,
coached.
but the Colts,
mainly
they're
their
both
shot.
better. They're both better than the Colts, probably.
No, the Bengals are better than the Colts, definitely on paper, but they
Except
just,
that
Zach
the
Taylor
Bengals'
has
defense is
had some
horrific.
wacky decisions at times.
Let's look at the AFC right now. All right. The Dolphins are 3-6. The Jets are 3-7. The Patriots are 3-7. The Chargers are good. The Broncos are never going to stay where they are at 5-5. They're going to fall
Chargers
apart.
are never both better than Indy.
All right. The Ravens, and we have the Steelers. The Bengals, they look like they're falling apart right in front of our eyes.
Chiefs.
The Browns, and then you have the
Browns.
Colts.
Yeah.
Right now, the Colts are a game out of a playoff spot.
And
And
they
even
could, but I don't think they will.
and as far as their roster, I do not believe their roster is weak. I mean, Jonathan Taylor's a pretty good player. Josh Downs
Jonathan Taylor's a great player.
I'm just saying. I said he's a pretty good player. Josh Downs has proved that he's a good secondary wide receiver. I mean, Michael Pittman has been good. Even Alex Pierce has been pretty good as a third tier wide receiver. They have a lot of talent.
But now that Richardson's back, I'm saying he can't. Is he going to be able to throw them the ball though?
Actually, Pierce has gotten better since Richardson's come back.
Yeah,
He actually was bad
yeah.
last year.
I just
Pierce
think
played great with Flacco. You mean?
I do not believe Anthony Richardson is the same player he was before he hurt his shoulder.
No, I agree. And I still think he could be good, Errol.
I do.
I think his shoulder's not going to hurt forever.
That was a major shoulder surgery. That was a major shoulder surgery.
Yeah, but he still wasn't accurate before the surgery.
All right.
He has talent. He has talent, though. Still,
Josh Allen, when he came into the league, he had a shoulder injury, right? Did
Yeah,
Josh Allen?
now he's good.
Hold on one second. Josh Allen didn't have major shoulder injury, shoulder surgery. What he decided to do is not have shoulder surgery, and he said he wanted to recuperate by himself with other, physical therapy and everything like that. He came out and said he believed that doing physical therapy and all the other stuff, letting it heal by itself, was better for his shoulder and his career. Anthony Richardson did not do that. He wanted to get back quicker. When you have major shoulder surgery of that magnitude, and Fish, you can understand this. You're a coach. When you have that kind of surgery, and with the way he is throwing now, and people, I've watched many different people on YouTube say that Anthony Richardson is never going to be able to throw the way he was throwing before he hurt his shoulder because of the surgery that he had, the inner shoulder surgery he had, which tells me he's not going to be the same quarterback he once was. It's a big, big, big loss as a player when you lose that kind of rotation on his throwing arm.
Well, obviously he's a quarterback, but and I get that, but you can't say forever. And every shoulder surgery isn't the same. He had the same exact injury as Allen.
I don't know if it's the same one.
Something
exactly,
similar.
but yeah.
Something similar when Allen came to the
you
league.
know what? I mean, sometimes the choice Allen made works. Sometimes surgery works better. You don't know. It's a gamble. And you could be right. He might not be the same I was told, but he's very young. Remember, and he's big and strong. And I don't think he's done. I don't think he's done in the league. I absolutely don't think he's done in 2 years.
Well, Allen's bigger than he is, though, and he had a different approach.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he's done. We have no idea how he's going to be next year with a whole off season to heal. But that's my point. So as crappy as he's playing, how are they going to make the playoffs?
They're going to have to have a rushing attack because his passing.
How are they going to make the playoffs?
You can't just win with the rush, Speedy. You're not dumb.
Not a Super Bowl, but they can still make the
Because all
playoffs.
you have to do is key the run.
Out of all the coaches that are fighting for that final playoff spot, who do you trust? Honestly,
None of them.
I would go with Steichen. I like him. I think Shane
he's all
Steichen
right.
is a
Nothing
good
great.
coach.
I think
Nothing
he's
great.
mediocre.
I mean, go
Yeah.
look at Philadelphia and look at what they were when he was there and what they haven't been since he's left.
Well, look how great Philly's playing now, actually.
Well, that's because of Saquon. For all those Giant fans that say,
and the defense has stepped up big time.
yeah, but Saquon, come on, Saquon
Yeah,
Barkley.
now, right.
Saquon
Speedy.
Barkley.
What else am I talking about?
Saquon
I said
Barkley.
the defense has stepped up big time. I mean, they didn't.
Saquon
And
Barkley
Saquon,
has
of course,
been.
is a beast.
Saquon
Yes.
Barkley has opened it up for
Yes,
Philadelphia.
open up the passing game too.
Just think about
And,
this. They that whole, what do they call it? The tush push. They have not been successful with that
it's
way.
and it's automatic every time now.
But with Saquon Barkley, it's just absolute dominance. And now you have.
But they tush push. But you know what? I know they tush push every single time down there now. Every time they don't even give it to Barkley when they're right down there, when they're on the one or less, because it works.
Those teams QB sneak then anyway, Keith. What's
It
the
makes me sick. Either one of them could get in. But with Hurts, it's just easier. But Barkley has opened up definitely now the pass area. He's awesome. But now, hey, have you noticed what Rihanna's doing, man? Is he fucking unbelievable?
Oh, God.
He had 50 points tonight.
So what?
No, what do you mean, so what? It's
So
every night. Wait, I'm not
what?
going to argue with you. Wait, I didn't call. I thought you were going to agree with me. You don't think he's playing great?
I think he's a good player. I think
A good player?
I think he's
a
overrated.
He's a great player already. Errol, if he stays healthy, he will definitely be the greatest player ever.
I
That's
guarantee.
healthy.
Oh, you're out of your mind. And
How am I out of my mind?
you're out of your mind.
He's 7'5".
So what?
Handles the ball.
So
he's
what?
hitting 50%.
He played the Wizards tonight. Of course, he killed them.
He has a great handle, a good handle, and he's a fucking kid.
Keith, let me ask you a question. What is he averaging right now?
30 maybe now.
No, he's averaging 19.7.
Or 28.
He's
no,
averaging.
well, not now.
He's
Not after
averaging.
his la-
He's
wait, after
averaging.
his last couple of games.
He's averaging 19.7 points a game right now.
Okay, that's still great. I didn't say-
Really? That's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't this his second year?
So what?
What did Michael Jordan get into? How many years did it take him to get to?
He averaged more. He averaged more than
I
19.7
don't care about
points a
averaging
game.
points. He also
He broke his foot year two.
How many? Listen, what I'm saying is, and you know I love Michael Jordan, especially as a target for him, and of course he's the greatest still. But at 7'5", you got to admit, if he stays healthy, I'm not saying he is now. I don't see how he's not going to be the greatest.
I didn't say he wasn't going to be a great player. He is not going to be.
Oh,
the greatest.
he is a great player.
He
right?
is not going to be the greatest basketball player. of
You
all
have
time.
no idea.
He's
He
not
could be.
even the greatest big man from his team. Tim Duncan's a
What?
better player than he is.
Oh,
Yes.
now, yes. But I'm
he
saying,
will be.
Errol, I'm saying he will be.
No, he's not. I don't think.
You don't think he could? You don't think he could be?
I think he's highly overrated.
Highly overrated? How?
I just think he's highly overrated.
Ask the other guys what they think. I want their opinion.
Okay, good. Fish, what do you think? Who do you think?
He's really good, except Jordan Poole also had 42 points in that game tonight. So I don't really care about the 50
No, I'm not
points
talking
he
about
had in
just
the
this
game.
game. I'm talking about his last.
Do
I'm
you
talking about
think?
his whole-
Hold on.
the
Do you
whole-
think? Do
no,
you
no,
think? Do you
Chris,
think?
No, what I'm at. Wait,
do
Errol,
you think?
let me just.
Okay, go ahead. I'm asking Fish. Do you think Wembanyama is going to be the greatest player to ever play in the NBA?
Could be.
Do you think? Do you have any thought?
Do you
to
think
that?
he could be?
Do you think it could be?
I find it unlikely, but he is gifted in ways we haven't seen. So maybe.
I'm
Slim
gifted
chance.
too when I grab my crotch. Okay, that doesn't mean that.
What does that
I'm
matter?
gifted too when I grab my
Don't grab your
crotch.
crotch now with
I'm
your
just
fucking
telling
stone.
you, I'm gifted that way too. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to be the greatest grip crotcher in human sports history. Okay,
That's a great analogy.
Oh, well,
He's got to stay. He's really, though, he has to stay healthy. We just saw Chet broke his hip like an
He's-
80-year-old
what I'm
man.
saying is, that guy, he has the potential to be. I really.
And they're
really
both built the same.
That's what I'm saying.
He's
Like,
got-
really
and he doesn't
frail.
get pushed out of there. He put on a lot of muscle. He's strong for his size, you know. And I remember how you were worried about his foot injuries, and that does happen with big guys, but he's not built like Yao Ming, you know. Yao Ming was a lot heavier.
No, he was a lot heavier, but remember when you have that kind of size, you're going to
It
put
can
wear and,
happen.
you're going to put wear and tear on those feet. I mean,
Yeah, but Kareem,
Joakim Noah.
7'2".
Joakim Noah was what, 7'2"? That's what he was.
Yeah,
Joakim
so was Kareem now. So was Will, and they didn't have those injuries.
But again, these are athletically gifted guys, and they're going up and down the court. Joakim Noah had what was that? Turf toe, and this has been going on in the NBA for a very long time for these big, long, lengthy, athletic big men. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Wembanyama is good, but what happens when he's 26, 27 years old? It's going.
Well, we don't know.
No, we don't know. But I'm just taking a guess here. Wembanyama is not going to be the greatest basketball player to ever play this game.
If he stays healthy, I think he absolutely will. You know who I think is the greatest player? And you might agree. Of all time right now, he's got a threat to join Jokic. Everything he does, is amazing. His rebounding, his three-point shooting, his passing, his D, his foul shooting, his clutch. Right? Do you agree to that he could be?
I hate this guy because I don't like him off the court, but I don't think there's any argument who the second greatest basketball player of all time is.
Jokic.
That's LeBron James.
No, I'm saying, but when all is said and done, I think Jokic will be the greatest.
I think he's special. I don't think if you were to ask me right now,
nobody passes like
who
him.
do
He's a
I
better
think
passer
is a
Jordan.
better big man or will be a better big man when they're done with their careers? I think Jokic is better than Wembanyama. That's what I think.
That's what right now. Yeah, I agree.
No, I think Jokic. I think when Jokic is done and Wembanyama is done, we're comparing their careers. I think Jokic is going to be a better player than Wembanyama. That's what I think.
They're different type players, but you could be. Definitely.
They're big men.
I agree there.
They're centers. That's,
yeah, I know. But one of them can play the 3, the 4, the whatever. He really can.
Let me ask Owen. Owen's a big sports fan. You can unmute yourself, Owen. Do you think Wembanyama is going to be the greatest NBA player of all time? Do you think
could be?
Yes, capable and could be.
Capable.
I don't think he's gonna last long enough in his NBA career to be the best. I think he's gonna have a really good career
if he stays healthy.
I mean, no big man has really stayed healthy for that long, especially at that length. I don't think he's gonna
stay healthy his whole career.
Kareem had an unstoppable shot in the skyhook that nobody could stop, and he didn't have to move. And he didn't have to move.
3 points. How's he going to get hurt? And they don't bang like these.
I just don't. I don't see him staying healthy.
No, I think they're peewees compared to the NBA and what
you
they
know
were
that's true, buddy.
In the 90s, in the 80s.
You're right. And
they're wimps.
I mean, it's a stretch for me to say that. I'm just saying he could be, but I think Jokic could be the greatest player of all time when he's done, because that guy makes everybody around him amazingly better. His passing is sick. His 3-point shooting is off the hook. Everything about his game is amazing. Every aspect of his game.
I know everybody wants, and I people have argued with me about the Kobe Bryant thing, and they said I am out of my mind not putting Kobe Bryant in my top 10. I think.
Well, I thought he's in the top 10.
I don't. And
he's in the top 5.
And we've had NBA guys come on the show. Tim Hardaway said that Kobe's not a top 10 player.
And there's plenty of NBA guys who say he's the second best player ever too.
The fact is that you
including Michael Jordan
and Chaba, you were a professional. You're a professional athlete. You were a professional athlete. I mean, when you're comparing the greatest players of all time, don't you believe that they should be trendsetters? The guys that were not mimic players, even though they were great, they were considered mimic players. Kobe Bryant was considered the Michael Jordan of this era. Okay,
right. So how bad is that?
It's just you're a mimical player. So
but he's a great mimical player. He has the same
great.
Game.
Yeah, so is a lot of players. I mean, Oscar Robertson was pretty damn good.
Jordan and Bryant were in the same class. Type player.
Who? Jordan and who?
And Kobe. And Jordan said that Kobe's the second best player.
Yeah, well, Jordan has a love fest. He has a love fest for Kobe
because he's the same type player, but that does make him great, honestly, if you compare to Michael Jordan. Yeah.
No, I'm not saying he's not great. Dude, if I put
top 10 though, Errol?
No, I don't.
Come on.
You want me to? Let's do it. All right.
All right. Bird, Magic.
All right. You go first, and then we'll let you go, and then we'll all do our top 10. All right, and I'll tell you what.
It's not always easy.
And then we'll go. Okay. So
all right, let's go top 10. Jordan, James, Kobe, Magic, Bird, obviously. I put Bird second best still right now. That's 5. Kareem, 6. Well, who else we got? I think Jokic, I put him in there right now. 7.
You don't have to go order. You just tell us your
No,
top
I'm
10.
not. I'm not. You're right. Thank you. I'm just trying to think.
Yeah.
Of 10. So I got 7. Elgin Baylor, 8. I don't know, man. My last 2 would be Oscar Robertson. I put 9. And there's always guys I'm gonna miss. Hakeem Olajuwon.
Okay. That's a good top 10. All right, Keith. We'll keep listening. We'll
All right,
give you
brother.
our top 10. Thank you for calling, Keith. We love you.
All right. Thank you, brother. Talk to you later.
Keith Rooney, ladies and gentlemen. I love Keith. I know I get a little angry and a little anxious. I am a little, out of my mind sometimes. Jabba, give me your top 10 before we go.
Oh, I'm gonna go, and we're not doing it in any order,
No,
right?
no order. Just give us your top 10.
I'm gonna go Jordan, LeBron, Bird, Magic, Kareem, Oscar Robertson, Kobe.
Okay.
I don't even know how many that is.
Speedy, you got the number right there. 7.
7. God, it's just hard because the arrows are so different, and it's like,
Yeah. It's just kind of like a guess. I mean, you can't really,
I don't hate the Jokic call. So that's 8.
Okay.
Bill Russell
Okay.
and golly, I don't hate. I'll give him that one. Elgin Baylor.
Okay. All right, Fish, give us your top 10. It doesn't have to be in order. Guys, it doesn't have to be in order. Just give me your top 10.
All right, so Jordan, LeBron at the top. Then you got Kareem and Russell from back in the day, Magic and Bird from the 80s. So that's 6 right there. I'm going to go Shaq over Kobe because Shaq was the most dominant force I've ever seen. And I'm going to put him with Tim Duncan as real nemesis, even though more late stage of the career. So now we're up to 8. We haven't mentioned Kobe yet. I think Kobe gets into the discussion with Hakeem at like 9 and 10. I think that's where you do it. And I'll go and I'll put Kobe at 10.
Okay.
And Hakeem at 9.
All right, Speedy. Actually, Scoops, you give us your top 10.
I'll go Jordan, LeBron. Then I'll do Kareem and Shaq. Then I'll do Kobe. I'll do Tim Duncan. I also like the Jokic. I'll add Jokic in my top 10.
Now you're guessing because he's not done. So it's
Also throw Magic in there.
Mhm.
What is this now? Like 8?
Think so.
8. I'll throw Larry Bird in there.
You throw him in there?
And let's insert him.
I'll just insert him. It's just Larry Bird,
And
I agree with you, Kevin. But
I always liked watching highlights of Reggie Miller too. So I'll put Reggie Miller in there.
Oh, no one and me.
All right, go ahead, Speedy.
All right, I'll go Jordan, LeBron. I'll say Kareem. I'll go Larry Bird, Tim Duncan, Magic Johnson. I'll say Kobe. I'll use the Jokic one as a projecting it if he does stay healthy. I'll say Bill Russell, and the one you haven't guys mentioned it, Wilt Chamberlain.
Okay. All right, Owen, give us your best.
All right, I got Jordan, Kobe, Bird, Magic, Kareem. I got Steph Curry's got to go in mine. It's a game changer. Shaq. What is that? Am I at 8? Shaq, Wilt, and probably Duncan.
All right.
You wish to have to fire him up.
I got Jordan, obviously, definitely the number 1. I would put LeBron James. He was fantastic. It's hard to argue that I wouldn't put this guy there. Hakeem Olajuwon. He was so dominant, so good. And at the tail end, what is that? That's 8, right? The tail 2, with the you could go back and forth, but I'm going to go this. because I think he revolutionized the shooting guard position after Jordan, and that's Allen Iverson. I think Allen Iverson was so special and what he did and how great he was. So I'll put Allen Iverson there, and I'll put the old Billy Russell there. I would put Wilt Chamberlain. I was back and forth, twice with Wilt Chamberlain and Allen Iverson. If you want to take Allen Iverson out, I put him 11 and Wilt Chamberlain in there. But I always look at the big man, and when you look at what the league was in the 60s, 70s, and 80s and 90s, it was all about the bigs. Now it's all about the point guard and the guard play. And I think it's a different game. So you can argue if you want to compare and contrast. Honestly, if you were to ask me right now, who's the best point guard of the last 20 years, it's not Steph Curry. Okay. So, and you know who I'm going to go with, Speedy?
Jason Kidd?
No.
Isaiah Thomas?
Chris Paul.
Chris Paul. Okay. There you go.
And and I know you're going to say, well, it's all about winning. But again, I'm just looking at what he does for the point guard position and how he plays the game. Chris Paul is a unique individual that played two-way basketball. Steph Curry did not. So
Steph Curry changed the game. Steph Curry
not
changed the
Kyrie
game.
Irving.
Yeah, he changed the game for the worst.
I mean, he still changed the game. Everybody shoots threes because of Steph Curry.
I know, and that's what ruined the game. So thank you, Steph, for ruining the game and making the game unwatchable. Okay, I don't even.
And he was on a lot of. Chris Paul was on a lot of his highlight tapes. So.
Oh, stop it! Are you kidding me?
Hey, Fish, you mentioned Kyrie Irving. He's the best point guard in FIBA or FEBA, Flat Earth Basketball Association.
Well, he might be the craziest. He had the best handle in the last 20 years since Iverson, though, I would say. Kyrie Irving. He's definitely up there.
I have a lot of respect for Allen Iverson because I don't think anybody understands the stuff that he has gone through in his career to get where he became and what he became as an NBA player. And look at what the Philadelphia 76ers gave him. He took that team to the finals twice. Who did he have on that team? I don't know. Derek Coleman stunk. Eric Snow stunk. Do you want me to go up and down the rosters that he actually took to the finals? They lost. They played the Lakers. I mean, come on. I feel bad for Allen Iverson. And then he went to the Denver Nuggets and he played with Carmelo Anthony, where he's a ball hog. He was the ISO superstar that he was. So it didn't work over there because he couldn't deal, and an old Chauncey Billups. So it's unfortunate, but I think people forget how good Allen Iverson. AI was a great, great player. And I know AI came out and said there was a documentary. And by the way, go check it out. He talked about Kobe and how much he loved Kobe Bryant. He said Kobe Bryant is the second greatest basketball player behind Michael Jordan. Allen Iverson is obviously very, very respectful about the late, great Kobe Bryant. But AI, you're the greatest two-man. Right behind Michael Jordan. I don't care what you say. You were so fun to watch. I loved watching Allen Iverson. He was such a great player. And by the way, he's the only person that made Michael Jordan fall on his ass twice. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say. So I love them both. I want to get a chance to meet him. He was over there at Wellbridge. Where was
Nithin's place?
Yeah, Nithin's.
Woodbridge.
Woodbridge.
Yeah.
We were going to go over there. I never got a chance to interview Allen Iverson, but. He's my famous line, or his famous line, practice, practice. So it's always been known as Allen Iverson's trademark in who he is as a player. So Jabba, Allen Iverson, you don't like Allen? You're on. You're on mute again, Jabba.
When you talk about transcending a game,
Yep.
I think he did it in more ways than one.
Mhm.
He was the first one to bring swag and style into what they were wearing, like the jerseys and the chains, and how that affected a culture of what it was. So, I mean, he's definitely there. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, no doubt. And, the things like he could do. But I think he transcended a game in a way that nobody else has stylistically.
Oh, and by the way, his crossover, besides Kyrie Irving, and he said it best, Kyrie Irving's a little bit, more of the trendsetter when it comes to the crossover. He brought the crossover to the game of basketball. He really did. And my first pair of like basketball sneakers were the Iversons. They can never stay. They could never last that long. I had every single pair of Iversons. I had all 5 of them. By the way, the Iverson 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s.
The answers.
The answers. Yeah, I love them. Love those.
Underrated were the black and gold ones.
Yes, they were. I love those too. I had 2 pairs of those babies. My brother ruined one of them. I gave him one of the pairs. He screwed them up within weeks when I gave it to him. The guy doesn't know how to take care of a pair of sneakers. Really can't. But Elgin Baylor's interesting too. So facts, Jabba. Look at that. Look at that. Kevin agrees with you right there. Facts, Jabba. So yeah. I have, by the way, I don't know if anybody, I have the first Kevin Garnett's. Did you guys ever see the first Kevin Garnett's? I have the first pair. I'm going to show you guys this. Hold on. It is fantastic. I'm going to go into my stack over here. I want you guys to see these. I bought these when they first came out. I still have them, and they're almost perfect condition. Hold on one second. I think, Owen, you're going to really appreciate these. Hold on.
A gift for the tick. Kevin says that's how you know you were from Long Island, Errol. LOL. Keith also says Hardaway had a great crossover. Yes, Tim Hardaway guested the show a couple of times as well.
Didn't Tim Hardaway Jr. get really hurt yesterday? He had to go to the hospital or something like that, and Senior was with them. I didn't get an update on that. I don't know if anyone else saw that, but prayers up to him. Hopefully he's all right. But a very dangerous fall in the game yesterday.
Taken off the court in a wheelchair after multiple head injuries. Wow.
Yeah, like he hit the ground and then like his he bounced up and hit it again. Yeah, so like that's like the double whammy. That's the thing you worry about as a coach. Kid gets a headshot, he comes back too soon, gets hit again. That's when you really get hurt. Sometimes you get a head. It's like one of those plays where you get hit and then you get hit again when you go down. And it sounds like that's what happened. That could be really scary. The prayers up for him, man, for sure.
Yeah, it's a slam. It slams his head and it exits on a wheelchair. And like you said, doing it twice too. Oof, that's right. That's definitely rough.
Here we go.
All right, the sneakers have returned.
I've got it. Look at these babies, Jabba. Look at these. The first Garnetts. Look at these babies. The first Kevin Garnett sneakers right over here. These babies. I mean, look at that.
Was he with Adidas?
These are Adidas. Yes, he was. It's a little dusty, but these were the first Kevin Garnett sneakers ever made by Adidas. These babies are probably worth a pretty penny now. I don't know.
Kobe in his first
Chris
year was
Webber.
sponsored by Adidas.
I'm sorry.
Chris Webber Dadas.
Oh, Dadas.
Chris Webber. Oh, I remember that. I remember when he thought he had an extra timeout, called the timeout, and did, for Michigan, which cost Michigan a national championship. By the way,
Fab Five.
That's right. So, by the way, Fab Five, fag garbage, because he was the only one that was half decent, and I don't want to hear. And I do not want to hear Mr. Big Mouth over there with ESPN. Do not.
Jalen Rose.
Yes. Do not bring up Mr. Big Mouth. But
hey, to bring it full circle, Jalen Rose is the one who got lit up by Kobe for 81 in that game.
Yeah, I remember.
So, that brings it all back to Kobe being a top 10 guy overall.
I do like to collect the older basketball sneaker. If I have the old Anthony Hardaways, which they brought back, by the way.
Those are sick.
Yeah, they are sick. Oh, I love them. So I have the old Anthony's. By the way, I got these new pairs. You guys got to check this one out. I like this one. These are the new ones I like. Oh, here it is.
Remember when the Reebok pumps came out?
All right, look at these babies. Look at these babies. These are nice. Look at that. Look at these babies. These are nice. Beautiful.
It's funny when you put it up with the green screen because it's
green. It's green.
You should have seen the show where this was like 3 years ago. Errol had it wasn't like a green shirt, but it was like a tealish shirt, and you could because it was summer, you could actually see his chest from it.
Yeah.
Or a guy that used to work with us, CJ Simone, was going off in the comment section. It was funny.
Yeah, well, CJ likes to mess around, but I like to, just like Jabba, I like to collect hats. I like to collect sneakers. But the reason why is when I was a kid, I don't want to really go too deep into it because the show should be over. when I was a kid and when I grew up, my father gave me, he said, listen, for school, when back to school, he'd say, listen, you have $150. What do you want to spend it on? I said, I just want a pair of Jordans. So I want a pair. He says, you're not buying a pair of Jordans. You need clothes and all this other stuff. So my father, I never had a pair of Jordans. So I told my father, when I get of age and I start to work and make my own money, I'm going to buy so many Jordans, I'm not even going to know what to do with it. Now I own a pair of like 75 Jordan sneakers. So I was absolutely right about the whole Jordan. And by the way, I hated Michael Jordan, but I respect his game. So as everybody, just like Jabba, I tell you all the time, Jabba, I've owned four Yankee jerseys. I have Yogi Berra. I have Don Mattingly. Do you know who are the other ones I have? Speedy? Come on, take a guess. Take a guess.
Tina Martinez.
No. Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle. Okay.
And Jabba Chamberlain.
Okay. I was thinking all 90s. All right.
That's the truth.
Okay.
That's the truth. And I've always said the one thing I loved about and it's personality. That's what you love. You like the guy that it goes out there and doesn't give a crap. And Jabba was a person that when he came into the game, I didn't even know who the hell he was, but he just didn't give a crap. So I didn't give a crap, and I bought his jersey. So
neither did my teammates. A-Rod thought I was African, and Mo thought I was from Alaska, not Nebraska.
So those are the jerseys I actually own. I have actually Yogi Berra's first Yankee jersey he ever wore. And I actually have it. It's authentic. Wow. So I've been always wanting to get it signed by him, but obviously he's gone, so I couldn't get it signed by him. But I would have loved to frame it and get it signed by him. But nevertheless, that's it for our show, ladies and gentlemen. I got to show you a couple of pair of sneaks that I have. Jabba, we got to see your sneaker collection. How many sneakers do you own?
Oh, golly. I don't even know, a ton. I mean, I could only wear Adidas, so they're all Adidas.
You're an Adidas guy, huh?
Been
Really?
since my sophomore year of college.
Really? So you're an Adidas guy. Oh, wait, now how many sneakers do you own? You're on mute.
Yeah, like 2 pairs. I'm not a big sneaker guy.
You're not a sneaker. What kind of thing? What do you like to collect? Give me something.
When I traveled a lot when I was a kid, so I guess my dad always would buy me shot glasses. So I got like 2,000 shot glasses from all over the United States.
Where the hell you hide those babies? I mean,
in the cabinet downstairs.
Really?
Man cave.
You didn't send any to Jabba's restaurant?
I'm just gonna put them all at Jabba's house. That's what we're gonna do.
Speedy, what do you like to collect? Underwear? What is that?
What?
Oh,
Out of a jar.
What do you like to collect, Speedy?
How do you stuff underwear in a jar, first of all? In response to the soundboard. Second of all, I wear underwear. That doesn't mean I have to take pride in collecting.
Well, you actually didn't wear underwear on one of our shows.
Yes, I know. That was 5 years ago.
Speedy, are you a boxer or a brief kind of guy?
Oh my God, we're going back to this again.
Or tighty whities?
Oh God,
I'm gonna
Fish,
say
really.
I'm gonna say tidy whities.
Of course you are.
By the way, I actually bought a man thong, and I'm just letting everybody know my friends actually dared me, and we're actually going on a cruise in February, and they dared me that to walk the boat around the boat one time with a man thong. And
like full blown thong, like
full thong,
in your
Like
butt,
we're
in your
at-
butt crack?
my butt cheeks hanging out, and I can record it. And I always live up to a bet. So I absolutely am wearing, I bought this, man. I'm going to show you guys. It's really, really funny. So
I'll just take your word for it. It's
yeah,
okay.
I don't need to see that.
it's going to be really, really funny. And they're going to record it, and I'm going to actually post it. It was a dare, and I always live up to my dares. So, Speedy, am I wrong?
I don't know. You're crap with your friends.
Gross sexual crap.
Well, you're around some of my friends. Do you not think
to do that crap?
Well, you know, when we take Speedy out, he likes to throw up, right, Speedy?
I don't like to. It just happened.
Happens, not happened. Happens.
Past tense.
It's the best. It is definitely something enjoyable, right, Speedy?
No.
You don't like to enjoy throwing up?
I don't enjoy it.
Well, what do you
It just
enjoy?
happened.
You got to make sure you don't eat right before you start drinking, because then you're going to throw up whatever you ate, Speedy.
You know, Jabba's going to take him to his first strip bar,
No,
and,
I'm not.
and Jabba's going to teach him how to shave his testicles, right? Right? Well, somebody's got to do it.
And it's not going to be you.
We might need a full-blown weed whacker.
Oh, you're going to need one. You're going We'll buy one of those handheld lawnmowers. Oh, man. Oh, there you go. I'll buy the hedges, okay, Speedy? I cut the hedges.
Just don't give it to Bobby Ojeda and you'll be good.
Good point.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you, Jabba.
There's a reference.
Well, you brought up Bobby Ojeda, and we didn't see Nelson Figs. So, all right, there you go. I want to give a shout out to Nelson. I know there was probably a good explanation why he didn't show up, but nevertheless, we'll get him on. Nelly, he'll definitely come on. He's definitely an interesting character. He's gonna love Jabba. Jabba's never actually got a chance to speak to him, so I think it'll be really, really fun. So, and by the way, next week, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have some new segments. Get ready for it. By the way, Mr. Tick, did Jabba tell you that what we're gonna name the game show?
Tic Tac O or something like that.
Tic Tac No, and it's actually going to be cool. So fans, we're going to actually have a couple of new segments next week. You're definitely going to enjoy. And it's must listen to next week. And that Jabba, do you have anything to say before we go?
No, but I think I trusted a fart too much. I gotta go check.
What happened?
I think I trusted a fart too much.
Oh, well, as long as you, well, I'm going to check if I'm going to pee out this rock by the end of this show. You know, I'm hoping that it's going to pop right out. My uncle actually told me the other day when he had his, it just like rocket shot right out when it got close to the head. Speedy, would you help me if I needed your help? I mean, maybe you can hold.
You have a girlfriend that's a nurse.
But she's not here. She's working, so I need your help.
I don't know what to do.
You got to hold the strainer.
I'm not doing that.
Why not? I'm not doing that. Anyways, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to all the fans. Thank you for downloading us on Apple, Spotify, on YouTube. Subscribe to us. Don't forget to do that. TikTok, we have almost 7,000 followers on TikTok. So thank you to all the fans. By the way, all our videos, we are up to almost 14,000 likes, and we've gained traction, almost 7,000 likes in 2 months. So thank you to all the fans on TikTok and all over the social media market. So we really appreciate you guys. The Weekend Crunch, the #1 show right now on 103.9 FM. Do we have the Islanders game?
Nope, they are playing during the day, so our show will be normal time.
So there you go. 7 o'clock, we will be live in the studios on 103.9 FM. That's it. Monday, we will be here. It will not be Tuesday. It will be Monday and Wednesday next week. Until then, I'm going to knock this thing off the ground over here, Speedy. Anyways, that's it. Good night. We'll talk to you then.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.